I'll call the meeting to order of the Carthage City Council for Thursday, June 2nd, 2022. Would you call the roll, please?
Yes, ma'am. Councilwoman Knappel.
Here.
Councilman Babcock.
Here.
Councilman Evil.
Yep.
Councilman Peters.
Here.
Councilman Petty.
Here.
Vice Mayor Reese.
Here.
Thank you. Now we have approval of minutes. We have minutes from the regular meeting Thursday, May 5th, 2022, and special call minutes from May 11th, 2022. Are there any questions or comments about these? If not, do I take a motion to approve?
Motion approved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. There's no bills over 10,000, so we'll move on with the citizens' concern. If you remember last month, the council passed a resolution that this would be for citizens who actually live inside the city limits and a 2-minute maximum on that. Are there any people here who want to speak with citizens' concerns who live here?
Is that including business owners, Mayor?
Yes,
Yes,
including
yes.
business owners.
That's what I thought, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I want to talk for just a minute, but the easiest thing to do would be I'd request it be added to tonight's agenda. I think that'd be a more appropriate place to address
Well-
what my concerns, but I don't know, I guess that's up to the council.
I'll make a motion that, is it concerning the last discussion?
Yeah.
Okay, so that should technically go under unfinished business. So I'd like to motion that Ms. Moore be added to the first position on unfinished business.
Okay. I will, just for the record, state this has gone to our insurance company, and they've asked us not to have any conversations about this.
I'll second that.
Okay.
And the discussion that I would have is that I asked for this to be put on the agenda, and it wasn't put on the agenda. I'd like to hear from you why it's not on the
Because
agenda.
our insurance, and we sent you an email about this, our insurance has asked that we don't discuss this because it is now filed as a claim. Just for legal
So,
reasons.
but if I asked for it to be put on the agenda, why can we not just have that conversation and say that out loud for everybody to know that?
We just did. That's what I'm
Just now, I know, but if
Well, I think
if
we-
Ms. Moore wouldn't have come today, we wouldn't have had the discussion
I'm sorry,
whatsoever.
We did send you
And I
an
don't think
email.
that's
We sent you an email telling you that.
to me personally, and I had citizens ask me, I had 2 citizens ask me what was going on with that, where we were with it, and I said, I don't know. And they said, their response was, shouldn't you know?
Mhm.
And the truth is, yes, we should know.
believe
And I
we-
should be able to tell somebody where we're at with it.
I believe we did send an email to everyone saying this is now an insurance claim, so they've asked us not to discuss it, the insurance company has.
Mayor
Yes,
Smith, respectfully, I think it's, the council doesn't necessarily know all the detail that's going on. We'd like to hear, we've heard it from your side, and you did send us out your side
Well,
of it,
I
but.
don't have a side in this.
Okay,
There's no side.
I'll rephrase that, I apologize.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
heard what you had told us about it.
Right.
And
We
I
also
think
got
we,
information from Ms. Moore as well.
yeah, and so I think that Ms. Moore is wanting to speak and just, we can hear her, what her information that she has about it.
That would be fine.
Okay.
But just keep in mind, this is an insurance claim now. The
Okay.
city's filed.
My last discussion was that if we asked for something to be on the agenda, I would appreciate if it was put on the agenda.
Absolutely.
Okay, well,
Is that
that's
a,
a,
yes,
that's a,
we'll do
that's
that,
a,
or we
that's a
won't?
tricky one if we're told that by our legal, our insurance company.
We don't have any legal right
Well,
now.
we do at the insurance company.
And I would,
Yes, they have an attorney at the insurance company.
I would say that, technically.
I mean, I'm fine with it if you
Okay,
want to
okay.
talk. I mean, but I just want you to know that's what the legal at our insurance company told us.
And that would be a stance where I would try to ask our representation, not necessarily the insurance, is what their legal opinion is. And since we don't have one, I think it's just fair. I mean, I don't think anything crazy is gonna happen here, and I think we're just
Go
gonna
right-
get
go
some
for it.
information and hopefully resolve the matter.
We need to vote on it.
Yeah.
Okay, so do I have a motion to the fact that we'll allow?
There's been a
Ms.
motion
Moore?
and a second,
Okay, a
yeah.
second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Go ahead.
Thank you. You want me to do it now?
Come up here if you like. It's fine.
It was just added to unfinished business, so we have to wait for it.
Okay,
technically.
so this
We're
is
gonna
the
go by
end
Robert's
of
rules.
unfinished business.
The beginning of unfinished business is what I motioned for.
Well,
Hey, Gary.
okay. All right.
Thank you.
So then, any other further citizens or business concerns? Okay. Then we go to the mayor's report. There's several good things I want to talk about that have happened here. First of all, we want to thank Tim Aldridge, who is one of our employees. I don't know if you noticed the beautiful stoop outside. That's professional work. He used to do that for homes, and it's now handicapped accessible. The ramp has been okayed by our building inspector, and it's ready to go once we could do a couple more adjustments to it out there. So we really appreciate he has put a lot of time and energy in doing that. It looks beautiful. Want to just let everybody know that, and I think we've already talked about this in the email, but we gave a recognition from the town of Carthage to the Riverview Regional for their excellence in service. They had a week of remembrance and thank yous of the hospital there, and we are so lucky in this little town to have this hospital. So many little towns just don't have one anymore, and especially the emergency room, that is vital. So we're so pleased to have them. Had a fun time. Principal Bell at the middle school invited some of us to come out and do mock interviews to help the kids, the 8th graders, learn how to do this for interviews in the future. It was a great event, and really was pleased to be part of that. Some of the boys and girls who did Mayor for a Day here were in Boys State and Girls State the last 2 weeks, and some of them were elected to offices, so we're really pleased for them. The pool opened to a record crowd. I mean, the highest attendance, I believe, Les said, ever on opening day, so that's wonderful. We had a visit from the Corps of Engineers to our wastewater plant. I don't know if Steve's here, but they came out, they looked at the riprap project that's going on, and it was actually the commander of the district that came out, so we were really pleased to have him there, and they're moving along with that project to try to get funding from Congress to help us extend that shoreline so we are not in danger down there. Everybody take a look at our website. It's being upgraded by Jennifer, who's my assistant. She's doing a great job putting news and events in there. It looks really, really nice. Want to thank Jackie Carver's family for the shelters they put over the benches down at the walking track. I want to thank Citizens Bank for the lovely shelter that they're helped pay for down there that will protect us from the sun for some of them. We really appreciate that. Just an update on the Highway 70 rock mitigation project. I think I sent an email out to y'all today, but they've moved that back until spring of next year to start discussing and even contracting out. So there will be citizens discussions once that starts next spring.
Very good.
Have another Market Fest coming up in September 17th. So anyone who has anything to sell or trade or food trucks, just come on out. And there is a film crew that's going to be doing a commercial here in town next Monday, and they're going to use all local folks. We're getting paid locally to host them here. They're using local catering. I mean, it's going to bring a nice little chunk into our economy, so we're kind of pleased that they chose.
What time is that? What time will that take place?
8 to 5.
8 to 6, yeah. It'll be,
With a lunch.
they've actually rented the whole pool,
Gotcha.
so. Okay, that's about all I have. Thank you. And we don't, at this point, have an attorney's report. We go to city reporter.
I have nothing official unless y'all have
Okay.
questions.
Les and Public Works, do you have anything you'd like to share?
Chief Davis.
Oh, excuse me, Chief Davis. I'm sorry, Chief Davis. Yes.
We want to hear from the police.
I don't have a report other than what our monthly report is there. If anybody has any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. Thank you.
Okay, now Les.
Now I don't have nothing, unless y'all got questions.
Okay. Is Derek then?
I don't have anything to report. They are moving along on the Future Alley water line project.
Okay.
I do have something coming up in new business. I'll talk to y'all about that then.
Okay. Do you want to tell them about the truck, or you're holding? You want to tell them about the truck, or you want to wait till?
Oh, yeah, our new dump truck we ordered last July finally arrived.
Really
glad
nice.
to have it. It's a great asset to have, so thank y'all.
Yeah, okay. Rusty, the water plant?
On May 11th, the state TDEC office came in and done our semi-annual, basically, audit of our water system. And They score us, it's, our system is set up on I think the maximum score is 599 points we can get. And the Carthage water system scored 589 points, so 98.35%. That's not perfect. We had a few little hiccups we got to straighten out paperwork wise, stuff like that, but I'll take that every year if they give it to me. So,
Yeah, that's very good.
Other than that, no, unless you have any questions, that's it.
Okay. Steve? Oh, there you
We're
are.
business as usual. We did order a new sludge truck. They've got their dump truck in. We called today and our truck's still on the assembly line. That's what we get every time we call them. The manufacturer that made the tank for it, he's had it for 3 months waiting on the truck. So, I don't know if they're waiting on some kind of part from China or somewhere, but we can't get it off the assembly line. But with the budget coming toward the end, we may end up having to take that money and just pull it over or redo a PO, or I'll go through accounting or whatever with that. But we're using the old one. We finally did get back to get the Hoss and sludge, so we pulled the old truck back out and we'll use it till the new one gets here. Unless you have any questions, that's all I got.
Okay, thank you. Chief Hyatt?
Yes, ma'am. Don't have your written report, I'm sorry, but first couple of days of the month, it's just hard to get one that quickly. 34 calls, month of May. We've got the bay doors up, nothing's hooked up, but they're up. So hopefully that's moving along. I did get an estimate on ladder 11, it's been in the shop since the first of the year, and the estimate on it, and our quote is not a complete price, it was $9,160. So hoping that doesn't go over, I'll find something else wrong. Be glad to get it back. Unless y'all have something that's just.
Out of the 34, were any of those fires?
Yes. Three fires. And we had two other, I hate to call them hazardous calls, but that was what was called in. Turned out not to be. 5 total that were fire related.
Gotcha.
Anything else? Thank you.
Okay. We don't have a CFO report. Grants and engineering, we do, Mr. Stephen Jones isn't here, but he wanted us to know that the water pump, and Derek, you may speak to that more, the water pump situation that's supposed to be a couple more weeks, is that right?
Yeah, it's been ordered. I think we're still a couple of weeks out on getting all the equipment in. And once it comes in, they'll be ready to get going on that. That shouldn't be, but maybe a 2-week project.
Okay. And then we have a rebid of the Main Street, so that's on the schedule tonight. Yes, sir.
The Future Alley project, is that 100% done?
No, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, they still probably like another 2 weeks on that.
Okay. They've been doing good on it, so.
Yeah, I've been very pleased.
So, Derek, are all the lines now disinfected? Is that part over? Or?
Yeah, all the mains are put in, and they're going through and looking all the businesses and stuff to the new line now.
Okay, great.
Should be a couple of weeks.
All right, thank you. Then we go into the unfinished business. Ms. Moore, would you like to come speak?
Do y'all mind if I stay right here?
Fine.
Is that okay? I'm not feeling too well, so my voice isn't all that strong. So I wanted to ask the council and Mayor Smith what the situation is with the final repair outside my office. I was here in April, I think it was, to address that, and the council voted at that time to fix it and then to recoup their costs from Upper Cumberland for that. Upper Cumberland, as far as I'm concerned, has done everything and have approved my loss complete, which is almost $30,000. And they have sent me a release, which I cannot sign because the city hasn't completed their project. Because what can happen if I sign off on this release, and then when the city makes their repair, in final, then and something goes wrong and I get flooded again, then I've already released Upper Cumberland. And so I can't do that because I know the city is going to also point their finger at Upper Cumberland. And so it's put me in a real spot because I cannot finish what I need to do because I don't even know when the permanent repair is coming. The day after, a couple of days after the last city council meeting, Public Works was up there working outside my office, but then they've stopped. So I can only presume that they've run into some kind of problem that has prevented them from finishing a permanent solution. In the meantime, I shared this with you all in the email that I sent requesting to be added to the agenda. I have received invoices and a certified letter from an attorney's office in Nashville regarding the ServPro bills that I can't get paid because the city won't finish the permanent repair, and they will not do a partial release. I have asked Liberty Mutual, who insures Upper Cumberland, to do that, and they won't. So it's put me in a really bad spot because they're going to file a lawsuit against me for something that I had nothing to do with. And if they do that, that's going to create a different problem that shouldn't happen. I mean, there's no reason for me to have to file suit against Upper Cumberland or me to file suit against the city, but I'm left with no redress if I don't get a permanent solution, a permanent fix pronto. Because I reached out to the other attorney that represented ServPro, and they agreed to give me an additional 30 days. I'd explained what was going on and why it had not been paid, because I've just not had cooperation here, frankly, to get that done. I think you all have the best of intentions, but it's not getting done, and I don't know what the obstacle of that is.
May I just clarify, because one of the emails we received, I thought you were saying that we needed to file a claim against Upper Cumberland, and that would allow you then to move forward. Did I misunderstand that?
Yes. What I wanted you to do, Liberty Mutual has asked that you all file a claim with them. What you did, Mayor Smith, was file a claim with your insurer. And so now we've got a subrogation issue that we wouldn't have had if you had just provided. All Liberty Mutual wants to know is what it's going to cost the city and
So
to repair.
is Liberty Mutual your insurance company?
No, it's Upper Cumberland's.
Well, we have to take anything that we have to our city insurance, and then they try to figure out how to help you or help the situation.
Unless you have a ordinance that requires that, that's not the case.
Well, we have to go with our insurance company. Yes, that's all we have is our insurance company.
But you file your claim with the Upper Cumberland's insurance.
She's saying, Mayor Smith,
That's what our insurance
no,
did.
she's
They filed
saying
the
we're not filing it with ours. We're filing it with Upper Cumberland's insurance company so they can be done with it.
So
We
they
don't
pay
need
it
to be
out, not our
doing, we
insurance.
don't need to be using our insurance at all.
There's no reason.
Or there's no reason for it. Upper Cumberland created the problem.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And it's the problem that she's been trying to fix, so she's paid ServPro to fix it, and she needs to
I
get
understand
reimbursed.
that. So it's-
And then we've spent money fixing it, so we need to be reimbursed.
Okay.
So she's just saying that all you need to do is sign this over as far as file the claim with their insurance company, so that way the taxpayers and the city gets reimbursed for it. And it's really simple.
Is that what the insurance told you?
Well, once we filed it, Kelly just said they were gonna investigate it because it sounded like it was Upper Cumberland's so that they could.
We don't
fix
have a
it.
claim
But that's the
against
thing
our
is, we don't
insurance.
need to file a claim with
Well,
our
that's
insurance,
already been
period.
done.
Well, no, it's-
A claim number established, and the adjuster has been out to my office. He came out last week and took pictures, and he was like, I don't understand why I'm here.
Yeah,
It was
we don't need
super
to,
nice.
we don't need to do anything other than tell their insurance company how much it cost us, so that way we get reimbursed and we're done.
We
And
need
we're
to-
done,
And I
Robin's
can be,
happy.
But I need-
We're missing one important thing.
But I gotta get it
The
fixed.
permanent fix.
Yeah.
And who would sign off on that it won't have any more problems? That's what my concern is. I'm not sure who's gonna take that responsibility.
Well, I don't
And
know.
it sounds like you needed that in the email, am I correct?
Well, what I need is a permanent solution, because if the permanent solution doesn't work, I mean, whether the city does a repair or if you bring in an engineer, and maybe that's what you all need to do. And Liberty Mutual, was my understanding, after talking with them and with Mr. Winkler, Upper Cumberland is prepared to take care of that, and so is Liberty Mutual. If we need an engineer to do that, then we need to let Liberty Mutual know But that's what they had asked for, was whatever engineering reports, photographs, damage reports, whatever, that is the city is.
They wanna know what the entire, they want a claim for not just this temporary fix, but for the whole
Yes.
entire fix.
Yes.
And so it's not something that's gonna come out of
Right.
our insurance. Their insurance company takes care of
I
it.
understand.
And yes,
But I do need Les or Derek, Les, are you still out there?
I think we're gonna have to get that in.
Um,
yeah.
Can you
We're gonna
sort of
move fast on it,
address
'cause she's
what
got
the
30 days.
situation is here?
We went up there the day you talked about, we busted that up. Well, the conduit that's in there.
I figured that's what you
It
brought
ain't
in.
deep enough for me to go across the top of it. Now, if I go in under it, it's gonna come out asphalt. I can't get it, you know what I'm saying? I can't get it out there.
Can you speak to what you found though about the gutter and the down
Yeah,
drains?
it was rotted, the whole gutter was rotted.
And that's on the American Legion building, that's not on
No.
our sidewalk.
No.
No,
Well,
No.
no, what
That
was
is
rotted,
city.
what was rotted was under the sidewalk, not coming down the
Right,
downspout.
but the rest of it is too, if
But
they examine everything. So we talked to the American Legion about this, and they're aware, they're gonna try to do something to redo their awning, so they don't even have to have that gutter and downspout. If we can get rid of that, that solves the
Well,
problem.
Mayor Smith, that gutter underneath was placed there by the city so that when those were built, that people tied
We don't know
into
the
that
place.
as a
That was there
drain.
probably in the 1900s, who knows when that was. But I guess what we're trying to say is, if we get rid of, if the American Legion, as they said they will do, we talked to them, and they said they would get rid of the gutter and the downspout. That alleviates the whole problem. Because
No,
then you
it-
don't have anything that's gonna run under the sidewalk, you're gonna have a different angle.
It doesn't, that only fixes it for the American Legion. You have, Mr. Bass's gutters the same exact way.
Well, then he needs to take care of his own,
And-
that's the
We
problem.
can start fixing everybody's gutters up there.
No, it's not, but that's what I'm saying, it's not the gutters, it's not the gutters. Their gutters are based on having a city drainage system that is in city property, that sidewalk is city property. So that's what that's based on. The gutter's the problem, it's not the gutter coming off the building, that, you're absolutely right, that is up to the building owners. We're talking about something that is a city gutter that you're saying is rotted.
I'm concerned about her problem. The rest of them have to wait. You know, we need
It's
to
that, well,
do this.
Les?
Basically, we're talking that not a gutter, but a drainage system
Well-
under the.
Yes,
But
that's
Les-
correct.
Excuse
There's a
me.
drainage system that is a part of the city.
No.
Whether 3 people run into it or 1 person does or whatever, it's a drainage system that we need to figure out. Now, that drainage system was working just fine
Until Upper Cumberland.
until Upper Cumberland poured up that pole, and it worked completely fine until then. So,
When they
Upper
removed the
Cumberland.
pole, can I,
Yeah.
just to, sorry to interrupt, but when they removed the pole, the way that I understand it from Les, is it pulled the sidewalk up. And when it did, that gutter was probably, like you said, been
And
there
that's
since the
what-
early 1900s, and it
That's what
crumbled.
Ed had said to the
Okay,
engineer.
so we're all on the same page there, and Upper
Yeah.
Cumberland is apparently good to take care of all this through their insurance, and all we have to do is make sure that we get this information of what it's gonna cost to get this fixed to the insurance,
Well,
and we can be done with this all.
Okay, we can do that, but here's my concern, like Barbara's saying, that doesn't fix the problem, because we know now.
I didn't say that,
Well,
I asked
okay, well,
about the
Let me
engineer.
just go to what Les said, then. I'm sorry. We know, it doesn't matter if we run something under the sidewalk anymore. Those gutters and drain systems are so dilapidated, it's not gonna go on. It wouldn't matter if we put a tunnel under it. It wouldn't matter because they're so stopped up.
The one in Mr. Bass's not even working.
Yeah, those drains just do not work anymore.
They don't
those
work
buildings.
anymore, yeah.
So
So
they-
I'm gonna motion then, that we go ahead and get that information and file that claim with Upper Cumberland's insurance company, and we act on that immediately because she's got 30 days
Like
as of
tomorrow.
whenever.
Yeah,
Like
it's
tomorrow.
already 2 weeks in.
I second.
And knowing this has happened, could buy you some more time.
Can we make amendment to that?
'Cause it doesn't sound like it's gonna be
We
possible.
have to put the permanent fix in there too, in order to file the claim.
I thought I said that, so yeah.
No, we didn't.
I don't know what to fix.
There's
I'll
no-
second your amendment.
I'm not saying, we're not putting it on you.
I've got one.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you saying there is an engineer that will bring on board to try to help us figure out what's going on? Is that what you're saying, Ms. Moore?
No, I'm saying that you can hire whatever engineer that you want to hire.
Well, but
to
it's not our
remove-
building. That's what I'm trying to say.
It's not a
This
building.
is
It's not a
It's
building
fixing a
problem,
building.
it's a sidewalk problem.
Sidewalk.
Can I?
Yes, sir.
So as a permanent solution, why don't we talk about as a council, we're getting ready to do the streets, why don't we look at redoing the sidewalks while we're doing that? We can fix all of that at the same time.
But
I know that's gonna be, here, we're gonna talk about it for 20 minutes, but
Let's do.
I'm just asking the question.
I'm gonna, if we just do that segment right there,
Yeah.
that seems to be where the problem is right now, do that segment.
yeah,
And let's
I'm gonna
move on with it.
and just
And
to make it
before
easier.
we do that, we really need to have an engineer to look
Yes.
at it.
that's fine,
Yes,
that's
we
fine.
can.
We always
Yeah,
use
no,
engineers, we're
So I'd
gonna
like
use them every
to
time.
Please, Les knows what he's
Well,
To add
saying.
that,
As
to
I'm
make
always
sure we
wrong,
have
say it on-
engineers.
Okay, I'll say
Les-
that.
Mayor, respectfully, I'm not asking about what, and unless I don't mean any disrespect, I promise you. I'm just asking a simple question of, can we look at, while we're doing the streets, maybe that can be our permanent solution to at least look at that section, I agree, to redo those sidewalks with drainage in it, with proper drainage.
Well, but then you still have to redo all the gutters because the gutters are shot and the gutter system on those
The,
buildings are
the
shot.
gutters would be up to the business owners.
That's right.
The drainage we could do in the sidewalks.
Well, but the drainage on these other buildings comes off of the.
So they would
the
just plug
awnings.
right into it.
If you look at the other buildings like this around town, there are no gutters and downspouts. It's
We're,
angled
okay,
down.
we're getting
I don't
off topic,
understand.
we're getting off topic, so I was gonna withdraw my motion and then read
I'll
it.
go ahead and then I'll say, I'll
Okay.
say something to Jesse's.
So I'm gonna withdraw my motion, redo this to make it easy for you, Danielle.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I motion that we have an engineer submit an estimate of what it's going to cost to fix the drainage, the entire drainage issue on the city sidewalk.
Specifically to Ms. Moore.
Specifically to the problem that's happened with Miss Moore. Yeah,
Okay.
wherever that drainage system is, I don't know where it starts and where it ends, but it needs to be the length of the drainage system. So if you wanna put the length of the drainage system, we wanna put that on there, because that's what the problem is.
Could I
I'm gonna
suggest,
say in time, you know them other two holes that's up there where the other two gutters?
Mhm.
There used to be a hole right there. When they paved that, they paved up over that hole. Didn't realize, you know, what it was there for.
Yeah, but we'll
If
just,
they come in there and grind that down, that hole may be exposed again. See what I'm saying?
so it could make
Which
the
would
problem
connect to
worse.
the drainage?
And,
Would you also, Les,
I'm
could
still
you
in the
also
middle of
say
motion.
what happens to those other two holes? Nothing's coming out. all right.
No, that's
So
probably.
that's what we're saying. The gutter
we're,
system is so
sorry,
broken.
We have a
I was in
motion.
the middle of motion, everybody.
Okay, all right.
Can you reread what I had that there? Said there.
Council need a motion to have an engineer give a cost estimate to fix the drainage issue, the length of the drain specifically near Ms. Moore's.
Does that cover everything you want to
That
cover?
covers the part about immediately fix it, because if we don't
Um,
get, the permanent solution, she can't file her claim and still.
Immediately.
But you haven't had no water since.
And that's my motion, so if we can get a second before we have any more discussion.
You got a second?
Who seconded?
I'll second.
Okay.
I'm sorry, you withdrew that one.
I withdrew it, I
I was
did,
thinking, we
yeah.
didn't need another second.
So my discussion I would add to that is, we're looking at just fixing that drainage right there.
The immediate problem in her drainage.
Yes.
That's what we can charge off for Cumberland's insurance.
Yes, I understand. But going forward, I'm looking at if we do bring up, let's fix it all, then we're gonna dig that up and redo the sidewalk there.
Why don't we put that on the agenda for right before we
I
do paving
suggest
stuff?
no gutters be put in the sidewalk. That's
Yeah.
what the city in the middle of liability.
I don't think they need to be put in there
That's-
anymore, it just
that's-
needs to run
That's
off
why you
how it
have
needs to
an
run off,
engineer.
and I agree with you.
That's the
But we
only
have in
one
the
up there
past,
that
we
has
need to fix the
gutters.
past and move forward the future. I'm
That's the only
totally
one that
there.
has gutters, is that right up there?
Yeah.
So you're saying just running across the sidewalk and into the street, basically?
I'm saying don't put no gutter period. Just leave it
Yeah,
off
the gutters are the
canopy.
problem.
The gutter is the problem.
It's the
We
gutter.
done determined that.
If you just, everybody could go look at it, it's real clear, the gutters are shot. on the
From here on out, the city will not be providing a drainage system for gutters on Main Street.
We don't need to be doing that, seriously.
Yeah, I agree.
It's
But that,
antiquated.
and I 100% agree, that's how it is, we're gonna fix the problem, and moving forward, we're gonna go this way.
No matter what, we have to fix this problem.
Yes.
This problem's got to be fixed.
So let me do this.
Yes, sir.
So the permanent solution is not gonna be to fix it going through the street, it will be, we're gonna eliminate the gutter system altogether.
That is correct, yeah.
Well,
Now,
we're
is
going
that-
to
is that-
take what the
well,
engineer says.
That's my point, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Okay.
So that's gonna be what the engineer.
Whatever the engineer
says.
says, I'll go with what the
Let's see
engineer
what they
says.
say, but
Yeah.
That's gonna be our goal when we talk.
That's their suggestion
Emphasis-
after taking
Yes.
multiple looks at it.
And emphasis being on immediately, because we're looking at potential stacking of lawsuits because this is happening. And this can't be something, then if this isn't addressed in the next couple of weeks, I'm gonna go and say, I'm gonna predict that there's gonna be some sort of lawsuit that we're dealing with next meeting. We don't wanna do that.
Just so I'm clear about what we're doing, now,
Wouldn't blame
we
'em.
do have a bill for
Wouldn't blame 'em.
$500 that Upper Cumberland has never paid, so
I
we.
would-
Well, if you
Well, done a
recall,
while
the first
ago.
time that I was here, back in
Yes.
April, you mentioned that then.
Right.
And said.
That's what I'm
and-
saying, is that what we need to file for?
Well, no, I mean, that's one thing, but you had said when I was here in April, just forget it, because I told you that if you would present the bill to me, that I would get it to Attorney Winkler for it to be paid, and you said, just forget it. That was what you
Well, no,
said.
that was what, we tried several times to get them to pay it. The gentleman who did the sidewalk repairs went 5 or 6 times and they didn't pay it, so we just went ahead and paid him so he wouldn't be out $500.
Right, and the
And we
city
never
needed to
filed, we never filed against them.
Right, and the city needed to be reimbursed for that, and I offered to help assist, get that happen, make that happen, because I had talked to Attorney Winkler, who said if I would present him with an invoice, he would make sure the city was
We
reimbursed.
did present him several times the invoice, and we presented it to someone down in Upper Cumberland, I forget who. So we can do it again, we will file it with.
If you will just simply, Mayor, send it to me, I'll make sure that it gets paid by.
All right, can you send her that tomorrow, please?
I don't have it, but I will get it to you.
Yeah, I can make sure that that gets paid for certain.
And can we just have some kind of a trail so that we can all see it? If
Of
you just
course.
put us all in there so that we can have a trail to follow and make sure it it happens.
We don't need a special call meeting again
No,
to fix
no.
this, please.
Yeah.
No.
Let's just do
I
this.
just need to know, and I know you may not realize the timeline, but if y'all could communicate that to me, either
I will get a
Les
hold
or.
of Evan tomorrow.
Yeah, so that we know, I can let
Well, Evan can
everybody
see.
know what's going
He
on.
didn't.
That would really help, because
He
I've
said
been in the
he
dark
wanted
for
to
2
do
months.
No, this is a whole
Well, but he's
different.
gotta come up with a fix.
And I'm worried right now, and I'm not trying to be mean, okay? But I'm worried right now you're not understanding what we're asking for.
No, I do.
Because
We're going to send
Evan
the
is
bill.
going to be looking at something completely different. He's going to be looking at fixing this entire problem.
Sure, I mean, that's
Yeah,
fine.
so I just wanna
That's
make sure
fine.
that's clear, and I don't, I just really
But for
wanna
right now, we
fix
just
this
need
and
to
be
get
done
you
with
the
it.
bill for the
And we
sidewalk
understand that
repair.
that
That's-
bill also
that's one
goes to
part of it.
And the
their,
other.
every bill we get goes to Upper Cumberland's insurance.
That's correct, yes. And I think we're all tracking now, so I'd like to
Okay.
call to question.
All right, so all in favor of us sending the bill directly tomorrow to Ms. Moore to send to?
Wait, what motion,
We're on Cole's
We don't have a
motion.
Yeah,
motion for
we're-
that.
Yeah.
we don't,
Okay, what was your motion?
Cole called the question, but we have another motion that's also not been voted on.
Okay. would you
What was
read
the
it,
other motion?
please?
I apologize.
The one you did.
The one about the drainage and getting her fixed, the engineer coming in.
Yeah, I thought we were on that motion.
That's what
He
we're
withdrew
We
the
are,
first
but you,
one.
but you called the
She
question.
was adding something.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and I withdrew the first one, so I'm just calling to question that motion that we're discussing right now.
Yes,
Yes.
so now that's
correct.
where we're at.
So would
Okay.
you repeat the motion so we're all on the same
Councilman
page?
Evil motion to have an engineer do a cost estimate to fix the drainage issue, the length of the drain specifically near Ms. Moore's office immediately. Councilman Peters seconded.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We will take care of this tomorrow. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor Smith.
Thank you all, Mayor Smith and council. Appreciate it.
All right, next, unfinished, we had talked, and we tabled this forward to this one. We have a performance hall, it's a wonderful place. We have a building inspector that says that we can't use large crowds in there unless we put adequate bathroom space. I would like to see if we can get some engineer to come in, take a look, see if we need to bid it out. If we don't have bathrooms in there, it's very difficult to use that space. Because the one little bathroom in the museum just doesn't get it. Yes, sir.
Do we need an engineer technically for that? Because that's just a.
Well, I'm talking about someone like Evan that's not gonna charge us. We just, it's.
You want to get an estimate
It
on
has to
it.
be handicapped. Well, he would
Yeah.
sort of design it. It could be an architect, but.
Yeah,
It has to
it's
be
not,
handicapped.
I'm not opposing, I think it's a good idea. I'm saying the proper person, would we want to use the engineer? He might be too expensive or something like that for a quote. Typically, you can get someone just to kind of come.
A contract.
You
can
have
get a
somebody in there
I think it's
before.
something we need to bid out for a contract. I don't think we
Yes,
necessarily
yes.
need an
Not an
engineer to
engineer.
bid out.
But somebody has to do a diagram of what,
Yeah.
because there's specific levels for handicap.
Absolutely,
in there.
absolutely, and I just don't think it requires a whole engineer to do it. I
No,
think we
no.
can just bid it
Well,
out.
I'm sorry, in terms of, Evan would do it for free for us, that's what I'm saying. And I think he did before when we were first looking there. The only thing we need is to know how high, low the handicap has to be in there. There are specific rules for that, so it doesn't have
Technically
to-
though, engineers get a percentage off of whatever.
General contractors
project.
should know all that information.
Yeah,
That's
so
their
I mean,
license.
I'm for exactly what you're asking, cause what I would say is let's just bid it out. And
Well, you can, but you still have to have an idea of what you're bidding. You have to have a design.
that's what they do, like when you bid it out, they'll
That's what
give
they
you,
do.
that's their job, yeah, they'll give you that idea, is
Yeah.
what I'm
Okay,
saying.
you have to have a certain number of bathrooms.
Yes,
and one
so
has
you
to
might have,
handicap.
Mayor Smith, you might have general contractor A say, this would be a good way to do this, and general
Just
contractor
so you know,
B.
Evan's already looked at it, okay?
Okay.
And he has some ideas for free for us.
So you've already had it looked at, and now you're saying, you're
No,
asking us to
no.
let them look at it.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
That's what it sounded like to me.
That's exactly what you just said,
No.
Mayor. Evans already looked at
He
it.
looked at it unofficially to say, yes, we have to have certain number of stalls. Yes, sir.
I've got a question. Is that not building under lease to two organizations?
Yes, it is.
What did they actually lease over there? They lease the whole
Okay.
performance hall or everything? I just wanna know what the lease said.
Okay, the lease, the performance hall and the area behind it belongs to the city. The first half over here belongs, it's being leased by the, well, I say being leased, it's $10 a year.
That's still a
And the
lease.
spot leases
So,
the facility above.
I just wanna make sure I'm clear. The museum gets the first part of it. The
Right.
actual performance hall is not in any lease that we have.
No.
I think we need to look at that, because I think that's incorrect. I think,
And the most recent one is that we are in charge of the performance. Nobody leases
how
that
recent?
space. Well, it's not in,
I believe it is in the museum's lease. That entire building, in my opinion, is leased out at
I
this
thought we
time.
discussed that when
Yeah,
we
we
took that
did.
away.
The city council, actually, when we were discussing the performance hall, and at your suggestion, we put that in the museum's lease as well. And then with the understanding that the spot and the museum would share that performance hall.
Okay.
And that's what we've been doing since the city council voted
I
that
think
way.
there's a recent resolution we passed so that.
It was different. what we
Danielle,
passed.
could you get the city council and the mayor a copy of that lease and just email it to us all?
And that resolution,
And
please.
that way we can kind of.
And see if we're allowed to even,
I was gonna say, if we've got it
if
though,
they've got
if
a
we
lease
made
and
it,
they
it
say
should
we
be
don't want the
there.
bathrooms, we can't, you know what I mean? They've got a signed lease.
The thing is, the museum has had pretty much, I mean, we haven't really charged them that much and we, you know, that could be.
That's-
Well, that
That's
wasn't
besides the
really
point.
that wasn't my point. The point is if we have a signed lease, we
Just
have
to
to
make
abide by
sure-
it.
I
Just-
can
we not-
copy
not
Just to
the
make sure we're not doing
Yeah.
something.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you wanna wait, I can go
Saw
get the
that.
lease, it's in the filing cabinet, but.
Mayor Smith, I don't think it's,
But-
I don't think it's necessarily a bad idea to do it. I'm just saying, so that if we do it, let's do it the right way and check with them, make sure that we got, we've
Well,
informed. Cause if I'm renting from someone and they just come in and
Yeah.
change something on me
Well, no, the
without
museum-
notifying me,
We
I'm gonna.
talked to the board of directors about this in the museum.
The city council has not
Yeah,
heard
I know
anything
that.
about it.
What we talked about was if somebody wanted to do a show in there, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
then we would approve it, not the museum, that's what we discussed.
Oh, but it is
Yeah.
still in the
We-
list. and
That's
I
what we
just,
discussed before.
How often does the performance hall get used?
Well,
for
it
performance?
could be, it could be used a lot.
It could be, but I'm asking,
But
how
it's
much
not-
is it being used?
Well,
The spot
because-
uses it weekly
It won't go back.
for a classroom.
Because right now it's not being used because we can't put a huge crowd in there without bathrooms.
So
We
here,
just can't do that.
my opinion on that building, just from the get-go, I'm just gonna be honest.
You wanna sell
Is
it.
I wanna sell it. But if we're gonna keep it and we got a performance hall that's sitting there being empty because it doesn't have a restroom, and we could be making revenue off of it
Yeah, you
as a
could be.
city, I would say it might be worth the investment and maybe looking at it, but let's do it the right way.
We're-
I still would like to sell the building, but if, again, I've been outvoted on that, at least if we're gonna keep it, somehow make revenue on it.
Well, and I would like to say, as far as revenue, the spot has invested about $10,000 in the rooms that we are using within the last year.
In your rooms,
So,
what y'all have.
and where you're wanting to put the bathrooms, we had to put the ceiling in there. There was no ceiling in there at all. And we paid quite a bit of money to put the ceiling in there. So we've invested about $10,000, which is a good investment in the city's building.
Yes, sir.
In addition to the
Spot
kids that we
hasn't asked
serve
for
there.
reimbursement on any
Nope,
of that?
nope.
Okay.
Well,
So that's-
and we do put all the heating and air and everything also, yes, sir.
It is not the city, and for that matter, the government's job to be an event center for
Or
the
compete with
town.
private businesses.
Not only that, but we've got multiple event centers in the county. We don't need to be competing as a city with our businesses on anything. We don't need a performance hall that we rent out and make revenue off of. If there was a swimming pool that somebody had as a business, I'd say the same thing for the city pool. That we didn't need to have that then, because we'd be competing against a business. It's the exact same thing. We shouldn't be doing that.
So we need to, and so again, that might be something we need to readdress, but, and I 100% agree with you, 100%. What I'm saying is, at this point, I mean, if we're willing to re-vote on it, it just doesn't seem like anyone wants to get rid of that building. And, because doesn't make sense for us as a city to own a building that nothing's happening in. So I think there are things happening in it, but these are things that maybe we could sell to those entities, let those entities take the responsibility on them.
The problem is you've got those entities there, and then if you've got people outside of that want to come in and push them out and take that over, then you've got a competition there where somebody's already using it.
And that's something where you do, because you brought that up one time, we all voted actually incorrectly. I can't remember if y'all were on the council at the time, but we were gonna sell property. And we did it incorrectly because we didn't bid it out. And Mayor Smith caught that, and she vetoed it properly, in my opinion, because
declare it surplus.
Yeah, because we didn't bid it out. So if we do sell it, we do need to bid that building out if we do sell it.
Well, it has to be declared surplus by the planning commission first. You can't just do that. The planning commission oversees the sale of property
absolutely.
and land.
I'd like to make a motion that we table this till next month until we see the lease and exactly see what's designed in the lease or what we can and cannot do in that building.
Can I make an amendment to that?
Yeah.
That we also see that ordinance that we're saying that we have, where we've supposedly changed, because I'm hearing two different things, that it may be or may not, and there just may be some confusion.
Any documentation pertaining to
It just-
performance.
Yes.
It's simple, you go back and look and see whether the notes were before.
Right.
Yeah.
No.
I just want to be sure.
It's like we're all confused.
Yep.
And there's all kinds of implications.
So
of
we
any
need to go
of
back
these
and look at it
variables,
again
so.
and see where we stood then.
I don't believe that
Before we
we're all,
change
I
anything.
don't think we're all
back.
confused. I just want to make sure that we're not doing something to someone's lease that we shouldn't do.
Yeah.
We changed that
Agreed.
lease
We changed it,
sometime ago.
anyway.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I'll
so-
second.
Okay.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all opposed? Okay, the next is, the budget ordinance. It's in our packet. Yes, sir.
Motion to approve the second reading of the budget.
Motion approved, second. Any discussion?
I would like to, I don't think this has been applied for, but I would like to maybe make one change in that we add to the contributions, if we could add the Smith County Pregnancy Help Center for a donation. They are,
I'm not sure if we can do it on the second reading.
Well, let me.
we can
voted on
change on the
twice.
second.
Can I ask a couple questions on it? And I'm a huge supporter personally of that entity. Did they submit?
I don't
in a
know
ti-
that
in a
they
timely
have,
manner?
but I would like to see them supported. And then they can always submit all the proper documents.
What,
At the time
this
that
is
we
something that, again, I'm just trying to do this the right way.
They have a brand-new director, and I don't know that she knew to.
Okay, but it may be something where we may be looked at by other.
Yeah, because we don't.
I've had about 8 entities come up to me like, we didn't know that the city did this contributions. How do I apply?
Yeah.
And they're all nonprofits and.
In the city? 8 more?
Yes,
8 more nonprofits in the city?
around the city, in
Around
the
the
city,
city.
everything. I mean,
But we
anywhere
don't-
from animals to homeschool associations to church associations to, you know, I mean, all kinds of things. Great causes, all of them. But I'm just saying again, and I'm not trying to deflect, but if we're gonna be fair, we need to be fair. And that's all I'm saying.
I'd like to make a motion
Okay.
and to add the Smith County Pregnancy Help Center for a
How much are they
$500
asking for
donation.
just off the?
I'm gonna say a small donation, $500.
I say, we did those evenly, didn't we, this last time?
We did not.
We didn't do it evenly? I thought we went back to what we did.
We did not. We did.
I'd
It was a
be
change on this
happy to raise that money. We can raise that money out of the city for them. That way they've got it and they're not hurting for it because it is a great organization. I just don't see it being.
They have a new director and they're
fair.
really
Yeah.
revamping it. It's a great program.
Oh, it's an excellent program.
And
I've already made a motion to have.
You're
We
amending,
don't.
is that what you're
For
making a motion to
$500.
amend?
What, I don't get, what's the amendment?
No, she's making a set,
There's already a second on that motion, we've not
Right,
voted
so-
on.
Oh, there is,
For the
okay.
budget, so are you
Yeah.
amending his
Yes.
by trying, okay, that's what I'm asking.
What is his amendment?
No, it's
No,
your,
it's your-
Your
Your
amendment to
amendment.
add.
I was
Oh, yeah,
talk-
yeah,
I was
okay.
talking in
Sorry, I'm
discussion,
totally
I'm sorry.
confused, okay.
Okay, so we have, would you read it back one more time, please?
What center was it? That's what I was
Smith
writing.
County Pregnancy Help
Okay.
Center.
Then we could have discussion, so if we have,
Do you have a second?
do you have a second on that? I don't know.
I'll second for discussion.
Okay.
My question is, you did second, right?
I second it, yeah.
My question is, they're fairly new, right?
They're not
They've been
fairly
around for a
new,
long
they've been
time.
around
Yeah.
many, many years,
Yeah.
but they have a new director, and they're doing a lot of extra things for the community, and
I
I think
understand,
we're gonna see
I'm
some
not
great.
against it, I understand that, but like he said, you know, we have all these other organizations too. You know, at least they should send something to us to.
And they can, if we have them in
Before
the
we
budget,
ever
they would.
decide on anything.
And
We're at the point right now, we need to be voting one way or another, and we don't have anything on the table.
We don't have anything.
And I believe by law, we have to have.
We have to have something.
Yeah.
And I just,
That's
I would
what
encourage
he's saying.
everyone who's here, everyone who's watching, it's an awesome organization. Donate to it, I mean, if we get a publicity, I mean, you wanna talk about like impacting lives, like, it's not, they don't give things away. They like teach people they teach them how to be moms, and it's amazing, and there's done.
But what
100% done.
what I'm saying, I'm not
Yeah.
against that, it's just, you know, if anybody applies.
Yeah,
they should
yeah, yeah.
Send us something. That's what I'm
And I feel like it's not
Point of
gonna pass
information.
here, so I'm just
Yeah.
putting that out there so people can donate if they'd like to. I think it'd be
Yeah.
great.
Councilman?
I would ask.
Because a lot of people want to know whether or not that we do this or not,
Yeah.
and they might want to do that.
Councilman, you've got the floor.
How would we, to Councilman Evil, he said if we could raise it through the city, do you mean through our budget?
Oh,
Or
I
do you
just
mean
meant-
from the citizens? I'm just being
I just
clear.
meant from the citizens, like, I'll
Okay.
donate the $500.
Right.
I'll do it. It's fine. That way you all don't have to feel like you're pressured to, no one here's against the Smith County Help Center. I'll donate, it's fine. Like, we're all cool.
pregnancy center.
I'm so sorry.
Nobody
Pregnancy
here
center.
is against any nonprofits in the city.
Absolutely. No one here is against it. I don't want it to appear that way, and if they're gonna get $500, it's like,
My point
it's an
was
awesome place.
just-
It's
we
just
should
not
have
fair
a-
to the other nonprofits.
Yeah, we just should have
Yes.
a procedure to go by.
Exactly, yes.
Simple as that.
I just wanna give them advertising was all.
Yeah. So,
Can we vote?
and for whatever it's worth, I've already donated to them, so maybe everybody else here can. Raise more than that, that would
Yep.
be great. Okay, so we have any more discussion?
So we'd vote on the amendment first, and then we'd vote on
Never
the
got a second.
budget.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
we
did.
did.
I got a
Yeah,
second.
yeah.
Jesse second.
So the amendment, would you read that, please?
Councilwoman Knappel motion to amend to include $500 to the Smith County Pregnancy Hope Center, and Councilman Peters seconded.
Okay, all in favor?
Or something.
To give $500 to the.
Can I withdraw? I wasn't paying attention. I heard that
I wanna
completely.
do a
Put your
roll
phone
call.
That's what I
down.
We do a roll call vote.
Yeah.
I
right.
heard her say that
Let's do a roll
opposite,
call.
and as soon as I did it, I
This means
I'm
you
sorry.
vote to
I'm
give
not trying
$500.
to-
No,
I'm so
I already
sorry.
knew what your vote was.
Okay, do you want to do roll call?
Roll call, yes,
Let's
please.
do
I'm so
roll call,
sorry.
please.
Councilwoman Knappel.
Yes.
Councilman Babcock.
No.
Councilman Evil.
No.
Councilman Peters.
No.
Councilman Petty.
No.
Vice Mayor Reese.
No.
Okay.
The motion to approve the budget now, back to the original motion.
Back to the original, we've got a second, any more discussion of that? All in favor of approving the budget as it stands?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you, so it passes on second reading. Thank you. Okay, we had a rebid of the Main Street Waterline project. We've got that information in here from Mr. Jones. Isengard Group was the low bid on this. He had to put in two sections this time, just so we could rebid it. We have to do that. So there's a base bid and an additive. To have the whole line back intact, we would have to do both. And I think, Derek, is that what you're suggesting also, just not to break it up like this, but to
Yes, that's correct. Go
so
ahead.
this is the Main Street water line. Do I have a motion to accept this bid, the low bid?
And I'm so sorry.
It's this right here.
Isengard's the one that's currently doing our future alley. Yeah, I'll motion to accept the bid.
We're gonna have a second.
Second.
Any discussion on this? And this is the bid with the back intact with additive and all of it, the whole line. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. All right, the next one is, we just have to go on record with some sort of statement of what we chose to go with the higher bid on the tornado sound. So whoever wants to put that on record, just so we have.
You want us
has
to
go-
say why we went with the higher bid?
Well, it's something that has to go in the bid packet about why the low bid product and services.
I'll do it.
Were up to standard or something like that.
So we were comparing apples to oranges. They weren't the same bid product, and the one that we actually wanted to be bid is the one that we voted on.
Do they want this from every council member?
Well,
Everyone's
just
vote?
something that, so when we go into the bid packet, if the low bid ever came back and said, I want to see the reason why the low bid didn't get it, that would be in our bid packet.
So one is enough?
I'll agree, it's not really a second, but I'll agree with it.
Can we
So
move
we
on to
got-
number 5?
So we got,
You
yes.
have it. You have it. Let's go to number 5. That's why.
Okay, does everybody agree with that? Okay.
I technically don't agree because I didn't vote for it, but that's the council's agreement, so as a council, that should be
Okay,
our
okay,
statement, so.
there we go, all right. The next number 5 is to speak to tornado sirens, right? Is that-
Well, I'm going to make a motion that we approve the purchase of the automated computer, and we leave in the voice commands that come with it, and we have to vote on 2 different types of maintenance packages for annual fees for the computer system. I've got all that. You tell me what you want.
How much are the maintenance packages and whether?
You've got 2 options. You've got a Monday through Friday maintenance deal, it's $1,290 a month. You've got a 24-hour, 7-day a week, which is $1,890 a year, not a month, a year.
It's you-
1,200 a year.
$1,290 a year or $1,890 a year, but if we go with the computer system, we've already got automatic backup with South Carthage systems because it runs off the same computer.
You're saying we may not need to
May
do
not
the
need-
24/7?
No.
May not or don't need?
I don't believe we need 24/7 computer.
So are you making the motion to go with the
I would
other?
make a motion to go with the Monday through Friday.
I'd second that.
Okay, so that's the one, just so you know what we're talking about, it's right here, it's $995, it's $295.
It's $1,200 to $190.
I didn't know, yeah, and I didn't know we were gonna have somewhat of a subscription with it either, but.
Yeah.
What's updated software, stuff like that, it's,
And it's-
$1,200 of
A
upgraded
year.
software? A year?
A year, right?
Well,
Annually, yes.
and there's no guarantee it won't go up, because we asked them so.
I
guess-
didn't,
I guess we
I
have
was
to
in the
do it.
meeting and I did not hear anything about it going up or going down. So I don't know if that's
I mean,
stated or not.
Well, we're in this thing, we've decided that we're gonna put a
we're in
tornado
it, and
siren
yeah,
up,
this is what I'm afraid of.
and, you know, either we do it or we don't.
And I
The
would
P-
like to add something if that's okay. Mr. Crockett said if we did the manual system, he will not be responsible
He will
for
not
it.
be one of
We
the
would have
others.
to figure out where you guys wanna put it if it doesn't go there, so just so you guys know that.
The system we have on order now is a manual system. It has to actually, okay, we got a tornado warning, push the button. Crockett, EMS director said, look, my dispatchers are gonna be too busy during a storm event. We don't need them worried about pushing a button. We want the automated system if it's gonna go into our area, which means if Noah sets it off, it goes off.
Don't we have a motion for the automated system and the,
Yeah, so
yeah.
that's
I've seconded
the motion.
it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we,
And yeah, I'm learning about it all. So we got $1,200 a month that you're motioning for.
No.
No,
$1,200 a year?
Or a year, I'm so
Year.
sorry. That you said
$100
first,
a
you got
month.
stuck with me.
I did say month.
$100 a month, basically, is what it is, $1,200 a year.
It's $1,290 annually.
Okay, annually. I don't remember them mentioning this when we got the system.
Because we didn't bid that system out, because we bid out a manual system that we did not want. If we would have bid this out the right way the first time, we would have probably saved close to $6,000 overall, because we could have, every system in this county could be run off one computer system.
Yeah, this thing's just getting more and more expensive. I'm just gonna, I've said my
yeah,
piece.
the longer we push it off and keep fighting it and
Also, I
bringing
wanna
other
put this
bids.
in there, I don't know, did you receive the email from Mr. Buss today?
yes,
He needs an answer in a PO by tomorrow or it's gonna delay shipment and everything of everything.
So we're in the process of voting. Any further discussion on this? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
And that's with the computerized system with the 1,200 annual. All right, next item is special permits. Those are in our packet here. This,
There's two, back to school bash and hometown Halloween, and the stuff in here.
And I'll motion, and then if we get a second, we can have discussion and hear from her on it.
okay, could we do them one at a time? That'll be a little easier to.
I'll motion for the back to school bash.
But did you want to hear from her?
Yeah, I'll motion as though we could here, yeah. I'll just-
Second.
Okay, yeah.
I think we're just waiting on the business of,
That's what she's here to report.
Can I speak?
Okay.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Aye.
Everybody in favor?
Robert's rules, man.
Okay, let's go ahead.
So I tried to hit I spoke to about 20 of the businesses. Out of those, 3 of them were concerned with road closures after the maneuvers event. One because it disabled her from loading her furniture at River's Edge Antique, so I'm gonna work with Bill and the Historical Society and anybody else who has a full road closure on a way to help her make sure she has a path to load people. The other 2, one was just because their sales were super, super down, when generally events like Walton Days is their largest day of the year. So they're not opposed to road closures. They just want to make sure that the people who are closing the road are taking into account how it's going to affect the businesses. And the other one was because they could not park to tan in front of their building and their tanners were upset. But overall, 17 of the 20 that I talked to were in favor of closing streets for events, so long as they were for downtown and for shoppers, or for the community, and not for a specific subset of people.
So could you describe what this event would be? It's back to school bash.
The back to school bash is going to be a back to school bash. It's going to have events and games for kids, as well as a school supply drive to supply food, as well as school supplies to the school pantries, and we will also have school supplies to give away to children at the event, and bring the tax-free weekend to downtown rather than just Walmart. So I've spoken, when I went around to all the businesses, asking them to stay open late for that. Anyone that was involved in clothes or things that would contribute to the tax-free weekend, so that they would be staying open. And the help center is also going to try to stay open for it as well.
So for this event, is it necessary to close the roads? Could you not?
Well,
have it-
the roads are actually already going to be closed on that day, I believe, from 6 to 9 for the American Legion concert, which we are working with them on. We just need it closed at 4 so we can put up the bounce houses.
So you just want it closed right?
Just in front of the courthouse. So the whole rest of the main street will be open. Does that make sense?
So you will be doing this in conjunction with American Legion? Or-
Yes.
And this is on a Saturday, right?
It's on a Saturday. Tax-free weekend.
When you say up the street, you meant like from Ray Brothers up, is that what you're saying?
What is Street Brothers?
I knew that was coming.
He's just gonna do that.
Just in front of the courthouse.
From 2nd to 3rd.
Second to third.
Yes.
All right.
I'm gonna act like I know it. Just in front of the courthouse.
So-
Leave in front of the Walton Hotel, that road, leave that open. Leave the parking there open.
So we've changed that though, because originally it was all the way down the
yeah, it
route.
was gonna be the whole downtown.
Yeah,
You
We
changed
just
it.
want it with in front of the courthouse.
Good kids event, things for kids to do.
So this would be happening at the same time the music would be happening, kind of?
They start at 6, we start at 4.
I don't see if 2 hours is gonna cause any big problem.
So you've already approved the road closure at 6.
Mhm.
We just need it moved back
We
to
just
4.
had it before.
So you say 3 on here, so you want to change that to 4? I'm sorry, you say 3 on here, you want to change it to 4?
Yeah, just put it at 4. We'll be fine. It takes 10 minutes to get the back
The whole
windows up.
time. He come over and use one hands.
Are y'all good to vote on it?
Okay, any further
Alright.
discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the next one would be the,
Motion to allow the hometown Halloween event, which is a annual event. It's been awesome for all the businesses downtown. And we wanted to hear about
the businesses, is it the same report the businesses on?
It's pretty much the same report. I mean, we will be closing the whole street for this one. Most of the businesses are closed at night, even during the week, so they're not really concerned about it, even though it's a couple hours before they close. For some of them, they're not concerned because they're handing out candy anyways for the event. We had been asked about moving it to a weekend day or something, but we spoke, myself and a couple other of my committee members spoke with high school students that we know and that frequent our shops, and they want to see it continue on Halloween because it's their town and they want to be able to do something in their town on Halloween. So we want to keep it that day.
You have till 10 p.m. Is that a weeknight or?
It's
It is
Sunday
a-
this year, isn't it?
Monday.
It's a Monday.
Monday.
It is a weeknight. We just want the time to be able to make sure we clean up and there's no candy in the road before the next day. So, the event is gonna end at 7. We just wanna make sure we can clean up the whole area safely.
Well, I don't think we need 3 hours after the event to be closed down. My
I mean,
opinion, I mean.
It'll
Their
probably
event,
be done by
They know
9,
what that's gonna
but
take.
But
That's
I'm
the
saying,
time I think it's gonna take.
last
I don't
year I was
agree
still
with
breaking
that.
down the next day because it was just me.
So is it 3 to 10 or 3 to 7?
The event is 4 to 7.
They wanna close it down from 3 to 7 to get ready.
3 to get
And-
ready.
And then they wanna close it down 7 to 10, because they feel that's the time they need to clean up properly
So
after.
when
How
is
far
our-
is this going down?
When's the curfew again?
How far does this go down?
This whole street?
The whole main street, like the trunk or treat always does.
Yeah, 'cause
From the
you
courthouse
already
down in
said-
front of Teresa's.
You're talking about from 2nd to 3rd?
All the way down to Teresa's.
Second to Ward.
Ward
So you
section.
used
The
to
lone
Second
place
Ward
to
from there.
Teresa's.
Same as
That's
it always is.
how my brain functions.
So,
Same as trunk or treat.
Chief, when-
Yeah, the
Chief,
same
when's
way
the
trunk or
curfew?
treat always was.
When is the curfew again?
8 o'clock is when curfew starts for Halloween night, whenever we do that, so, and anytime after that, it's not gonna be much traffic. Everybody should be going home for the most part, should be with your parents, and trick or treating usually ends by 8 o'clock. So.
I know that this is, it's been something that's been done before with the trunk or treat, and I'm guessing the Jeepers Creepers, I think is what it was called before.
Started out.
So I know that it's been done from that road to that road before. And I know there's a ton, we handed out candy for our church several years, and there are a ton of people, I mean, everybody comes out, so I think you need it. I just want to be on record as saying, I don't want this to open up into other events that are taking on major pieces of our main street and closing down for multiple hours. I think that this is a rare occasion where I can get behind that, and I agree with that. I don't want this to be I don't want it to turn into something else when it's not needed.
I've had several businesses comment that we're cutting into their business, shutting these streets down.
And they don't want to get on camera, and they don't want to be controversial, and it's just
But
because
they're
they're saying
calling.
yes, that's not, they're not really meaning yes.
And I would like to agree with
I'd
that.
like
At
to
some
also.
point, I think we have to review this whole thing because we're getting so many and decide as a council what's gonna be best for the businesses as
And-
well as the events and see if we can come up with a compromise so
Well,
everybody will be
the
And
happy
the
with it.
businesses say that it's not helping their business, it's hurting their businesses. So I think at some point, some of these events need to be taken somewhere else.
Or not have a closed down
We need to
street.
have that
Yeah.
conversation, but in the meantime, this is a great event and I think we should go.
I'll be happy when we do this again to bring back the signatures of all the businesses that were in favor of it. There was literally one business that was not. Every other business, they didn't just
Hold on,
say
hold on.
we were, I'm gonna
We
finish.
need to go ahead and
They-
finish this.
okay.
We don't need to.
But they
go
didn't just
into
say they
this
were
discussion.
in favor of it. They signed their name, wrote their name, put their address and everything on it. That's how much they were in favor. They took time out of their day to do it. So again, I understand that there's one
Well, it's
business and a few
increased since
people
then.
that are afraid to get on camera about it, and that's fine. But again, if they're gonna fight for something, well, they gotta stand up and fight for it.
Some of those aren't business owners that signed those pieces of paper though. Some of those were people that were working in those businesses. That's the truth.
I think
Whoever's in that
also-
business
You're
that
listen,
no,
you're
I'm
welcome.
gonna finish. Now I'm gonna finish.
Okay, you go on and finish, Jesse.
So whoever is in that business at that time that has a paper shoved in their face, that doesn't mean that the
Oh.
business owner is okay with it.
Well, I'll tell you what, you are welcome to all them signatures, and you look them over yourself
Okay,
and
okay.
see which ones were
Hold on.
shoved in their faces.
Hold on, yes, or did you have something?
I'm gonna call the question. This has
Thank you.
nothing to do with what we're
Right.
discussing.
Exactly.
Okay.
And if you want, let's put it on the agenda and have an hour-long discussion about road closures but that's
We
not.
can do
what
that
we're
again.
discussing
That'd be
right now.
great.
Okay, question's been called, all in favor of allowing this?
We didn't have a second.
We have no.
We didn't even make a motion to.
I made a
Did you
You made a
motion.
motion.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. Okay, so the next item of business is Spring Street basketball area.
What's the quote on the fence?
Do you have that, Les?
Quote on the fence around the, Spring Street basketball court?
$15,000.
How much?
15.
And it's not tall enough. That's for a 10-foot tall fence, and it needs to be at least 12. And we didn't get a quote for 12. I don't know why we didn't get a quote for 12, but we don't have one. But I'm sure it's gonna be more now.
That seems outrageous.
Is that because of lighting? Is it when we need 12-foot?
We don't need lighting.
We
And
can do lighting.
so that was brought up, but we don't need to do that because the park actually closes at night. Nobody's supposed to
Yeah,
be
it
there
closes at
whenever.
dusk.
Nobody's
We don't
supposed to.
even want to encourage after curfew for us to be there.
It's just that the basketball goal is 10 foot. If the fence is 10 foot, it kind of.
Oh, I got you.
Defeats the purpose.
I'll
But-
get
but
it.
you
That's,
are
I'm
gonna
gonna go on a
fix the
rabbit trail.
sidewalks.
He's done that
Yeah.
framed up the pole. He's done framed up the pole.
Yeah, so we've got the sidewalk.
So let's do
to
12 foot.
go
Let's
across.
get a
But we
bid
need
for
to
12
talk
foot.
about the sidewalk as well, though. How tall is the sidewalk gonna be? We need to make sure that water's not gonna go over top of it once we have it in.
Needs to be a drainage underneath.
It doesn't need to go with the lay of the land. It needs to have its own.
I trust them, I trust them to
Yeah, he's taking
determine
care of it. I
what to
believe.
do.
Les, you've taken
Y'all go
care
down
of
by
it.
and look at it. He's been like formed up.
Yeah, I trust y'all. There were some parts in the park where the walking track is where water just butts right up and there ain't no
That
drainage.
wasn't them, that was the person who installed the track.
I'm just letting you. I just want to make sure that's out there. So.
That had nothing to do
Well,
with me down
and
there.
it is hard to walk through that water, so we.
Yeah, they did a lousy job on paving that track, period.
So we'll get So yeah, I'm good with sidewalks. I'm good with 12-foot fences. Let's get it on.
We need a quote for a 12.
Yes, sir. Excuse me. Planning Commission, we got,
Yes.
we've forgotten them here.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, is it okay if I?
sure, go ahead. We totally forgot the Planning Commission. has to be
Let's not forget, state law says that for any project like that has to come before the planning
That's right,
commission
it
before we
does.
do this, before we get started. You can't just start these projects without coming, it doesn't mean the planning commission is gonna turn it down,
Right.
but this is a state law. If you remember, we had one session that we went over this, and I handed out the state law that showed you that. So, we don't wanna be breaking the state law on these things.
So our
And I'm
motion-
assuming we were going to send this to the planning commission.
Yeah, but you have to do it before you start the project.
Yeah. Well, we're not. We haven't started the
So
project
do
yet.
we
They
have a
formed up to
motion?
pour concrete.
Do we have,
Well, we didn't.
We don't have to because it's $2,500.
Yeah.
well,
They didn't have to
I
bring it back
thought
before
the
us.
last vote was
Wait.
us getting a bid.
That's exactly, you're exactly
so what
right.
was the motion?
That's what I asked for.
When I am told in here to do something, I do it.
Okay, so, no, all right, let me get this straight real quick. Go ahead, Steve, you had your hand up, I'm sorry.
That's right. I would like to make a motion that we put this out for bid again to see if we can get a 12-foot fence quote. If we get a quote and we approve it, we send it to the building commission to get approved to
Planning.
install.
Planning
Yeah.
Commission.
Our planning commission, that's a good.
I know it's a technical thing.
No,
but-
we need to do things right way.
That's the right, yeah.
We just don't wanna be breaking the law.
I'll second that.
Well, and I think what you ran into was there's not any companies around that do them that high. So
I've
we
reached
have a
out to
second.
everybody and nobody was really back but one, so all called me back.
So we have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you.
That needs to
All
go to the planning commission.
Well, we need to get the quote first. If we don't get a quote, there's no sense in sending it to the planning
right. Is
commission.
that
Any
okay?
project needs to be submitted for a building permit or for planning.
That's right.
Including the
Any-
sidewalk?
Including the
Yes.
sidewalk.
So
Our
back,
building inspector
so
has
back to
to-
that again, what I asked for specifically was in this meeting to have a quote for how much the sidewalk
That
would
is
cost.
correct. That is
I
correct.
did not ask for it to be, and I keep doing this, but I don't mean to disrespect you, it's not what I'm doing. If what we're asking for is a quote, I think a quote should be presented at the next meeting, not just, let's just go ahead and do it.
We should
Because that's
have
not
done.
what we voted on. We voted for a quote.
And it doesn't make my job any easier.
Well,
And
And that quote probably tells us exactly where the sidewalk is, because we may see something that says maybe we should have the sidewalk over here, maybe we should have it over here. We don't know, because we don't have a quote.
And then we're getting a whooping by the planning commission because it has to go before
And it needs
them.
to do it. So we
And
just
it's
need
not the
fall
people at this,
procedure. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna say something in Les's defense. If you
Les
say-
is not the
I know,
one
but
that
let
people
me
are
just say
saying anything
something.
about.
Les-
Nobody's
Les
doing
goes out of
anything
his
to
way
Les.
to try to fix things, and I think he thought y'all wanted it fixed.
I thought we voted to do the sidewalk.
You know,
Did
do
he-
the sidewalk
who-
for
at whose
$2,500.
order
I
did
don't
he
think you're
start?
gonna get no cheaper than
No.
that.
We voted for a quote
I'll
to do
do
the
it.
sidewalk.
Is that right?
Yes.
We did, we did.
But it's not
It was
about
my motion,
cheaper, it's
yeah.
about doing it right.
Okay, go ahead, please.
I'd like to make a motion that we continue with the $2,500 project after it's sent to the planning commission for approval.
I'll second.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And we appreciate what you do, Les. Thank you. All right. Okay, next is the sign ordinance discussion. Councilman Eagle.
First off, thank you, Dr. Duke. Thank you so much for all your work that you do not get compensated for. I appreciate you. And Dr. Duke and I don't always agree, and he is awesome at doing everything that he does. Like, I really appreciate it. On this, basically, I'm reading what you're saying here. Based on the Supreme Court, we can't regulate as a city any sign-based or its content as a discriminatory. It's a meaning like if someone has a sign out there that it ain't supposed to be, as a city, we can't go pull that sign up.
No, you can't look at that sign, you can't read what's on the sign. It may say, Dr. Duke is just the ugliest guy in the world. You know, you can't look, you can't read what's on the sign. If it's I'll take one exception to that. The state of Tennessee, when you talk about campaign signs, that comes under a totally different law. If you look at your pack there, and I'm sorry that was so thick, but I just wanted to make sure it was, that you had all the information about that. So the campaign finance, the campaign sign stuff with campaign signs, those come under a totally different thing. If you'll notice that, I think it's page, 5 or 6 or something like that. And that's all the laws for the state of Tennessee with that. So they supersede anything we do. Now, there are some question as to whether because if you read it, then you gotta read it to know that it's a campaign sign. And that goes against what the Supreme Court for the First Amendment said, but that's between the state of Tennessee and the Supreme Court. That's not us. You can't, a sign is a sign. The only thing we can do is time, place, situation, and manner. That's
So
the only
what
thing we can
can,
regulate.
as a city, in your opinion, what is it we can do with a blank sign that we have not discriminated against?
Depends on
Is
where
that the
it's
second
put.
paragraph?
It depends if it's in a right of way or not, doesn't it?
That's what I'm
You're talking about displayed properly.
It displayed, neutral sign, doesn't matter who it was, displayed properly, or displayed however it's displayed.
Legally.
Legally, illegally, what can the city do? What is our powers, in your opinion, as a city government, not saying the county, not saying the state, but as a city government, what can we do?
You mean if
Well,
it's in our right of way?
Dillon's rule, which gives us the power, if the legislative body gives us the power, that's under Dillon's rule. So it gives the municipality policing powers to do things like that. So in our ordinance, it says, and it's our ordinance, it says that no signs can be placed on the right of way, period. That does, wayfaring signs, direction signs, safety signs, that, like city signs and stuff like that can be, yeah, right. Those
Exceptions to the rule.
Pardon me?
Exceptions to the rule.
That's exception to the rule. But otherwise, no other signs can be placed. And that's our ordinance. And there's no state law that says that.
Should that be violated, whose responsibility is it to go take those signs down? How would that be handled properly?
Whoever the city appoints is the person to do that. That would be they've got a term for it in there. So whoever the city says can do it. I think the ones that's been doing them now is when they get ready to mow, they.
So we have, so as it stands now, we have no one appointed to enforce this. We have a law, but should so-and-so go out there and violate that law, no one's there to enforce it. So it's technically an unenforceable law at this point.
So let's
Meaning,
I
like-
disagree
No,
with
that's
that.
not true.
No.
It's whoever-
It's not enforceable if we don't have a designated person.
Well, you
Well,
do
we
have a
do- we
designated
do.
person.
Who
If
is
that, it's not one person, it's it's an entity, just like the mayor is the mayor, it's
Who
not,
is it?
it's not a person.
That's what I'm asking. Who's the, that was what my original question is, who's the entity that would enforce that then, that we designated?
Public Works has been
Yeah.
done, Public Works.
Okay.
Police.
Is that on, is that written down?
I mean, it could,
Well,
the
it
police
just-
department
it-
can enforce it under the
Whoever
ordinance
the
violations.
city appoints as the enforcement person at that particular time, it doesn't have to be the same person every time, you know?
It's
So who is
enforcing
it?
entity.
It's that
Who is
entity.
it?
that
Okay,
does
okay.
it.
Who is it that says you go out there and do that today? Who is the city? Who gets to say that on any given day? Mayor Smith?
I don't think any particular person says go out there and do it. It's whoever is.
So I can do it. If it's in the right of way, I can go pick it up. Cause why not?
Well, if you bring it to City Hall and let them know that it's here, yeah.
Then who goes out and does it?
No.
Then I can do it.
But
Well,
also that brings the
like-
question,
like
who
Dr.
decides
Yeah.
that
Okay,
it's
like
there?
Dr. Duke is
Well,
saying, when we mow.
It's not as complicated as you're trying
We
to
don't-
make
we
it.
don't mow anymore.
It's not as complicated as you're trying to make it.
Dr. Duke, like you said, when the city mows, they pull those things up.
Yeah.
The city does not mow anymore.
Well, whoever mows for the.
That's what I've been trying to say for 5 minutes. They don't mow anymore. We keep saying that, but it's not what happens.
But they do mow our right of way, so whoever is in charge of mowing the right of ways.
That's who gets to pull it up.
Are our public works guys. If they see something that's in public right of way, they have the right to pull it up. Yeah, they work on it.
Alleged-
It hasn't
yes.
been being enforced, is that what the problem is?
I don't know
I don't
that
think it's
there's a
been
problem.
being-
Allegedly-
But if we're going to enforce it, I just wanna know, it's
I
so
agree.
simple, who gets to pull it up? Who decides who gets
Yes.
to pull it? That's all I wanna know.
And just so you know, we're not trying to waste your time.
Nobody knows.
What has
Nobody wants to
happened
say they
is
don't know.
allegedly,
It's a
there has
simple
been,
question.
in this past campaign, there has been signs that have been taken up
Public Works
by
does.
particular candidates,
Public
and then they were just like, we'll take them all up.
How about making a motion of who is in charge of pulling them up, and we won't drag this out till
Yeah.
that time?
Yeah.
Sam, I will leave that to you, because I don't want to make a motion on that.
You're the one who put this on the thing.
It's Public Works who does it.
Because I've had people that said, hey, they're pulling my signs out and they're leaving that in,
That's
and
exactly
what's
what's
the
happening.
ordinance? And yes, and so that's why I brought it to
So
the
who gets to
table.
decide?
So I'm open, I have no opinion on this other than the fact that if you're gonna let one person put a sign, you let everyone, or you don't let anyone do it.
That's
And,
right.
and that's my opinion
Well,
on it.
this says no one does it.
Right. No,
Okay,
It's not
so,
allowed for anybody.
cool, so now we're on the same page. So now we need to figure out, since it says no one does it, are we wanting to move forward with our current statute that says, or current ordinance that says that we don't allow for this, or do we want to start allowing for this? Sam sign's coming up if it's in a right of way. He's had signs out there for years that have been almost permanent, and it helps him with his business, you know. Now, can that open up for other people's signs? Absolutely.
There's other signs
But-
out there.
But we need to decide right now as a city, do we want to allow for this now, or do we want to keep it as going? If it is keeping as going, we need to designate a person and entity that judges it, shouldn't be any elected official.
Agreed.
Ever. And that person needs to do it. If we want to do away with it, then we don't even need to worry about it. So that's my opinion on it.
Let's
You
hear
have
from
something to
Steve.
say?
I'd like to make a motion.
Thank you.
That Public Works as a whole, as an entity, be the ones to enforce the ordinance of signs on the right of way, doing their normal duties of the day.
I'll second.
Okay. Any just further discussion on that?
Well, wait a minute, because I think you and I agree that it shouldn't be an elected official that makes the decision.
That's why I said Public Works.
It's
Who-
not elected
who-
official.
So that means.
Listen, wait, I have the floor. Hold on. I understand that they're not an elected official, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying their boss, and no disrespect to you that you just happen to be the boss, but their boss is. So an elected official could tell them what to
Why
do
don't you make amendment saying that it's up to the discretion of the supervisors with no influence?
solely.
Solely the supervisor, no influence from any city council member or any mayor official. It is solely up to that.
Here, I got it. Sam.
They can't be asked.
I'm gonna withdraw my motion. I'm gonna make a motion that the Public Works employees solely have control of the signs on the ordinances with no undue influence from the mayor, council members, dog walkers, dog catchers, anyone other than their own discretion.
Second for discussion, and I would like to be the first person with the discussion.
Okay, and
I would.
Dr. Duke has something he wants to say.
Public Works, do you want that responsibility? No, right now I have the floor. Does Public Works want that responsibility to judge which signs can stay and which signs can't in a right of way?
Can,
I'll do whatever the mayor says.
Well,
No, that's
okay.
not what the question is. Hold on, wait.
Jesse, let me interject one thing. If we make this motion that they do not stay on the right of ways, then they all come up. They don't
That's
judge
right.
who's
That's
comes
right.
up.
Exactly.
They come up or they don't.
Exactly.
That's
All
what
of
I'm
them.
saying, this motion may not be constitutional, what
Yes,
you're saying.
yes.
Because you're gonna be looking, you can't look and see what's on the sign. It doesn't matter if it's a sign.
If they pull them all up, Roger, then it doesn't
That's
matter.
it, that's exactly
They
right.
have to be enforced.
That's right.
So are we not gonna hear from the people that have signs in those right of ways currently that have had them there for years and have an open discussion, allow them to speak? We're just gonna make that decision and move on?
It's the
I would like
it's the
it,
law.
I would like us to not.
That we have not been enforcing, and now we're gonna enforce it
Yes,
without.
we have been enforcing it recently. They
If,
have.
Some
if
of
I
them.
could,
For
if
years.
we
Some
could
of them.
compromise, just a compromise, because I think we need to figure out where we're at with it right now. Okay, so we have an enforcement that is, if the mayor tells you go pick up a sign, you can't go pick it up, Les. That's what we're voting on right
It
now.
would be you.
You decide what this, if I call you and say,
She can't tell you
Any
that. If
sign
we
is
vote
right.
this way.
Not just you,
That's why
not
I'm
just
asking
you,
this.
any Public Works employee, not just
anyone,
you.
we can't, I can't call you and say, hey, this isn't right, I can't
You know,
complain.
If I pull Sam's sign up, I'm gonna pull everybody else's sign up.
That's exactly right.
That's what you have.
There you go, it's all or nothing.
My compromise
You
is
pull my
that
sign up anytime.
we don't enforce, we go ahead and set the rules right now, but let's not enforce these rules until we have a public hearing on it and table this till next month on it.
Well, it's
Now,
already-
I think we got our information, what we wanna know, we know the direction that we possibly may wanna go or may not, but we got the information, we know what we can do with it, now we can execute, but let's execute in a month so it gives people a chance to come and speak.
But they're saying that it's already a law, that
It
it,
is a
what,
law.
It's already an ordinance.
It's a
It's an
law.
ordinance.
It's not a rule.
listen,
It's
listen,
not-
I'm trying my best to be cordial and respect. Every single time I've had the floor tonight, everybody's talked over me. Every single
Go
time.
right ahead, go right ahead. You got it. Sorry.
Well, I have to.
I apologize for,
All I'm trying to say is, I agree partially that because I brought it up, that they have been able to do that for an extended amount of time, so they're used to it. So we should hear from them, but at the same time, what I'm also hearing in the background is even if they don't like it, it still is the law and they should all come up anyway. If that's the case, then there's no reason to really even hear them because we're asking them to waste their breath. If it's the law that they all have to come up already, is that what you're saying? Then that's what we need to move forward with, because we're just asking them to waste their breath.
it's,
But we
am I
can,
right? It's an ordinance. It's been an ordinance for a while, so.
we can change the ordinance.
You can change the ordinance.
So that's why we're here,
But-
is if we have enough of our constituents to say, hey, we don't like doing this, we don't want this done no more, we can be like, all right, let's not do it anymore.
I'm gonna
And that's,
interject. May I interject?
Go ahead, both of
A
y'all.
whole bunch
It's
of
fine.
citizens have called us about signs, so I think you've got some for, some against.
The thing about it is, the Sam sign's there, and Digger's got a sign there, I'm not gonna pull up Sam, play Digger's there, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
Kids will come up too.
it is going to cause,
you can't
it is
even
going
read
to
what's
cause
on.
some issues. I'm just gonna let
Yes.
y'all know if you don't know yet.
Let me say this, it's all or nothing now. If you vote to allow people to do it, then anybody can do it. It can't, I mean, I can, everybody and their brother can put them on the right of way.
And I think everybody is already.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
it's-
I'm talking about private citizens, whomever. I mean, you know.
Do we have a motion yet?
Anybody and their brother.
And you,
There's a motion? What is it?
To allow Public Works, any Public Works employee to remove the sign, so they'd be the designated person, without any influence of the mayor, council, or any outside entities.
I do want to say one thing to that. What will be done with the signs, because I would hate to pull up somebody's signs and destroy them. We need to talk about how those signs
They've
will
been
be
being brought
handled.
to City Hall and
Yeah.
stored until they get picked up.
Okay,
and they
okay.
call the number on there.
Okay, okay,
to
that was
let
my
them know.
question.
Yes, sir.
I think we just need to move forward with all of them, because I think it's gonna cause major issues with, because we're talking about the right of way, we're talking about them pulling up their signs and moving them a foot, moving them 2 feet.
If we
And then it's,
if we change the law, I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, we can move them over a little bit and then everything goes away versus we open up this door for everybody to put 100 signs in front of each other and all that kind of stuff, and then it gets into issues and problems. I think it just, out of the right of way, I went back and forth, and that's where my mind is just get them out of the right of way altogether,
Basically,
all of them.
All my motion was giving the city a designated person to do that according to our ordinance. That was all my motion. I'm not trying-
All of them.
Which is what you were
Yes, all
asking for.
employees. That way it's not a mayor, it's
So
not
do
a
we have a
council.
No, I mean all of them as in the signs.
Yes. That's
If they're in the right of way, they go.
That's per ordinance, that's per the ordinance we have on the
So
books.
we need a second, Danielle?
Yes.
Second.
Already.
Okay.
If you don't have
Any
it.
further discussion on this?
Yes.
I do too, but I'll keep it short after you.
Okay. I think we're about to open a Pandora's box if we start taking out every single sign. That's my one opinion. Two, we're not really opening up anything because everyone's been doing it anyways. Everybody's been putting signs out for everything from yard sales to everything. They're already doing it. So what's going to happen now is all the temporary people, well, they'll stop doing it or will start getting picked up. But all the permanent people who are doing it very regularly, realtors, auctions, Sam's, whoever, they're the ones that's going to get affected the most by this. And so just take that into account before we start getting pretty strict with it, because there's going to be some backlash. I'm just giving you all a heads up.
Yes, sir.
I like the idea that we maybe have a concerned citizens open meeting or whatever and listen to some people, because it has been going on for as long as I've been living here. And then you gotta determine, all right, if the street's here and the sign's sitting right here, is it on the right of way or is it not? And that's not, they've got too many things to be doing, to be deciding, is this legal or not?
If I pull somebody's sign, they stop there, y'all gonna give us the right to pull them up, they don't like it, who do we send them to?
Exactly, I think we need
Well,
to.
Send them to the city council.
I think we need to table this for now and do a open meeting on it.
Yeah, I think so too. So I'm going to vote against this.
There-
because of
there-
that.
You got a question?
Well, no, not a question. I think that maybe in the future, we look at getting a codes inspector.
Yes, that's what we
That
need.
that takes care of all
Yeah,
that.
and
I
the
brought that
code
for 6
inspector
months.
takes
I
care of
brought
all
that up
this.
a long time ago.
We can't.
I mean,
We-
even
we've
down to
looked.
saying
We
some
bid,
of our assets
we put it out to,
We do.
We have looked everywhere. Every city has this problem. We can't find code inspectors.
Well, we may have to hire somebody and train them.
Well, we do have one lady that I think
Well,
we've
that's
got-
off, totally off.
Yeah, I think we're getting off topic here. So
Here's what I wanna say about this. The motion is we had to have a designee. Doesn't mean they have to go out tomorrow and start pulling up signs every sign they see. But now we have someone appointed by the city that can do this job. Our ordinance is fulfilled. Now, if he drives by and he can't determine it's on the right of way, he doesn't pull it up, he doesn't pull it up. But he can't be ordered by the mayor or the city council to pull it up. That was the whole point behind the motion.
So we're not telling you to do anything.
Well.
We're not.
I want that in writing.
Any further, yes.
You want all the little signs on the
got
side of the
better
road, don't you?
Okay.
So I'm
Councilman.
wondering if we don't need to give folks, before he starts pulling up signs, give individuals, put this in the paper, put this on the website, that if this is the ordinance and give folks time to pick up their signs
I
before.
was in the paper before.
I'm just gonna be completely honest with you. I don't think they're gonna run around looking to pick up signs. I think the problem was they were being ordered to pick them up. So now we have a designated person, so I don't think it's gonna be a problem anymore.
So technically, you don't have to go pick up any signs right now.
Okay,
Because we can't tell you to do that.
okay.
So we're not telling you to do that. We're just saying if it comes up,
Well,
it goes to you.
don't we have a motion that they be removed?
No, there's no motion
Then
been
they
made that
have
they
the
be
authority
removed.
to do that.
That
They
was
have
previous council, I guess.
They have the authority to remove them. We have
What
not
do y'all want me
motioned that
to
they.
do?
Yeah,
I don't
let's
care
clarify
about
this
all
and
that.
do it quick.
What do y'all want me to do?
It's what the law,
Maybe
whatever the law
someone
is.
get off the
What
road.
what do you want me to do?
I want you doing
Well,
it.
Well, the planning
I like it.
commission really should
Yeah.
weigh in on
I agree
this.
with that.
The reason why I think it's a good idea that some, a lot of people, there's a lot of people don't know where the right of way, these guys know where the right of way is. You know, and I don't think they're gonna be, when we say the right of way,
Overly critical.
we're talking about in the right of way. If, you know, I know the ordinance says if it's, 2 inches over into the right of way, it's in the right of way. I think what we're talking about here is these guys, the ones that they really worry about is whenever they're trying to mow or whenever they're trying to do something, it's right there. And a lot of these are in what's called the sight triangle, which I know that a lot of times. I pull up to the street and there's a sign there that's, I can't see what's coming when I try to pull out. And so I think, so, I think that these guys will know. But the only thing is they can't look at a sign and see who it is or what it is.
Doesn't matter what it says, it has to be follow the same rules for every
That's
sign.
right, everybody has to follow the same.
I agree with that.
And I think it's a good idea that he does that, somebody like this, because you know where the right of ways are. You know what city property right of way. Yeah, absolutely. And if there's any question about it, I've drawn several diagrams in there and as a matter of fact, measurements and exactly where the right of ways are. And, let me say this too. The difference between it being 2 foot over here versus in the right of way, I don't think it's gonna make that much difference in people seeing it, especially if everybody does it and does it the right way.
Well, a lot of people don't know where the right of way is.
Right, they don't. They don't know where the right of way is.
Okay.
And that's right,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to call the question for a vote, please.
Second.
So, would you please, because there's been a lot of discussion, what's the motion one more time, please, everybody on the
Councilman
same page?
Babcock wanted to designate Public Works as an entity to have solely no undue influence from the mayor, elected officials, or council, or any other outside entities to use their discretion about pulling up signs.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I oppose.
Thank,
Opposed.
okay, thank you. All righty, so we go into new business. We have a gentleman here who is, has sent in qualifications for city attorney. And you've got that in your packet. This is Attorney Andre
Greta, yes.
From the Moore, Ritter, Fitzpatrick, and York firm in Cookville.
Right.
Would you look through his qualifications here? Quite extensive.
Point of information.
Yes, sir.
Is this the same firm that came before that applied with Attorney Mullins?
Yes, we were here last year.
Yes,
Okay.
but
That have
this-
a whole,
That was just,
This is their appointee though, just for the city.
I read it. I was just making sure it was the same one.
Right. They specialize in municipal law.
Yeah.
This is the only application obviously we got, I guess. Correct? Yeah, okay. My only concern is that we just, over a certain amount of hours, we cap our hours unless it's approved by the city council, because there's a lot of, I think, back and forth with a lot of attorneys that have been looking into things in the past that we didn't really ask, the council never really asked the attorneys to do. It just kind of starts happening, and I mean, I think there's, they could be in a lot of, because she's gonna have some day-to-day stuff she does need to talk to the attorneys about, but also, there's a difference between day-to-day and special projects. Does that, y'all feel what I'm saying?
I also see a thing here that Mayor Smith contacted them and said that we wanted a one attorney.
That was after the last meeting. I gave them the reason.
And then
that
this
they-
is the same one that you suggested we should have went with last time. And now they're back here with you telling them what we wanted.
No, this was after the last time they asked for a follow-up, and I said they wanted one specific.
She's saying that
What-
the reply why they didn't get it last
Right.
time,
Just said,
she's mentioned.
Mayor Smith advised telephone that the continuity of information. Found
That
for a
was-
single point.
That was what we told them.
Okay, that's why I make sure, 'cause it looks like that you called them and said, this is what we're looking for, is just one person.
Well, we put out an RFQ to every attorney entity around, so.
I think what that's referencing is our firm has 8 lawyers.
Right.
And so we're city attorney for Cookville and Allgood. Dan Rader's city attorney for Cookville. Danny is the city attorney for Allgood. I would be the primary contact person for Carthage, although when you hire me, you're hiring the whole firm. So you have
That's
those
fine. But
resources.
we just want to make
as
sure
well.
that every meeting we come to, there's not going to be a different person sitting in that. seat.
Correct. I'm going to be in that seat every time unless I'm sick or dead, or out of town.
Just those three things, right?
Pop you up like Weekend at Bernie's.
Right. Yes, sir.
And that's one of the things we talked about the last time,
Right.
was we wanted one particular person to sign.
Right.
And when we voted that person in, what, 2 out of 5 times he couldn't make it?
That's right. That's right.
So,
All right. Any, yes, sir.
Yeah, so we're just letting you know what you're getting into here.
I think
I've had fun tonight. I think I have an idea.
I think he knows already.
Yeah, and again, I don't feel like I just want to hear from everybody else in council as far as like special project cap time. Like, do y'all get what I'm saying? Like, there's just been things I've been told by each and every attorney we've had that there's just been too much time spent on things that were just like searching for this or searching for that, and coming back with the same answer every single time, and then going around trying to find a different way, coming back with the same answer. I just want to make sure that when we're utilizing it for the city for every day-to-day operations, totally fine with this price. But if we got a special, something that's going out, that's a special request, I need to go look for something, so-and-so, I think the city council should be contacted to let, hey, I'm spending this amount of hours now searching for this, and we should be able to, as a city council, put a cap on that.
Well, I think we already some time ago decided if an individual council person calls the attorney, everybody has to be aware of what was said in that conversation.
I think that was referring to
That we're-
yourself.
We weren't talking about that.
Okay.
We're talking about like,
There are contracts and certain things you do have to have an attorney.
absolutely, and that's what we're saying, like, you've
Right.
got to be in communication constantly. That's your day-to-day
Yeah.
job, absolutely.
Right.
We're talking about things that are just like special projects, like
Okay,
the
I
one.
think we all understand that.
So,
Yeah.
are y'all good with that?
I'd like to hear what you were saying, the finishing part of what you were saying.
Basically, just if the last one was, he was what was he? It wasn't the lights. He was looking into something. Will kept looking into something. No, it was with the county. Remember with the county with the contract on the tax rate. Well, we voted. What happened is we voted on what we wanted to do, and then Mayor Smith had him go look at it in a different way. And then he came back with the same answer to us, and we were like, we already voted on this. And then it went back again, and he's like, he spent a lot of time on this thing to get the same exact answer.
I think this covers right here $1,000 per
Yes.
month cap.
Yes.
Okay.
And if it starts reaching that number, I think we should be
Alerted.
But I mean, if you think about today, we're at 2.5 hours today. He's already got.
And drive time.
And drive time, so we're looking at,
Yeah.
we got no time during the
So
month to
we-
call our
we-
lawyers.
If we can cut our meetings a little shorter, that would save us some money.
I'm into that.
I don't think anybody argue with you.
All right.
But you're
Right.
saying if he's contacted, it needs to be about a certain
Yeah,
project, not day-to-day
Yeah.
running the city.
If there's a special project that's not a day-to-day thing that she's giving you, just contact us. That's what we're asking you to do.
Well, why don't we just, if there's an email going to the attorney, why don't we just all be included on
Yes,
the email
exactly.
chain?
That's fine. Yeah, and that's fine.
Anyway.
And she may have emails that are not necessarily we need to know
On
about.
projects, you don't want me to
But
copy in on
project-
everything,
no,
right?
no,
I'm
no,
just making
no.
sure.
I'm not trying to get into your
That's
job.
fine with me. I want to save us some money, so yes.
Okay,
Definitely,
all right.
Definitely.
I don't have any more questions.
Definitely.
You
Yes,
can
sir.
use me as much or as little as you need to.
Yes.
So if you find that we're spending too much time on legal fees, then we can,
There we go.
it'll be up to the council to cut that back and moderate
Do we
it. But
have
I'm
a
gonna,
motion?
I would like
if
to
you
make
need
a
my help,
motion
I'm
to
here to
hire.
help you.
Okay,
I'll
we have
second.
we have a motion and a second to hire. Any further discussion?
We're not gonna talk about the increase from the last attorney to this one?
Well,
Not $100 an hour?
It's been that, every
No,
other
it's
one.
not a, no.
The last one we
Will was
didn't.
the only one that bid $150.
I was gonna say, we weren't
Yeah.
paying him $150 an hour?
And if you
An hour at
remember, it took
$250.
him about 4 times longer sometimes than what these people may be able to do in a short amount of time. Because that's all they do. is-
I don't think we have a lot of choice.
I'm just, we're not having a lot of conversation about, $100 more an hour.
I didn't want to say that, but.
I mean, it's-
So whatever,
Well,
who cares?
But Mr. Moore was 200.
We're acting like this.
I'm with you, but it's not, I mean, like I had that discussion the last time. I spoke my piece about it. We just don't have another applicant. And so it's kind of like where our hands are tied and we got to have an attorney.
We've
right?
had it out 1 month.
And we can go apples and oranges too. You get what you pay for.
No disrespect to you, we've had it out for 1 month, and we're saying we have no more
If
applicants.
you remember, Mr. Moore was 200.
Listen, I know you want this firm to go through. But I'm asking questions, and I want to be able to talk to the council and have a discussion. I'm just asking about the price difference and what, if anybody else has an issue with that, or if we're just gonna, in 1 month, say we're done, that's fine, let's just go with them.
I don't have a problem.
I think in the light of the situation with the potential of lawsuits coming our way, we need to be protected as soon as possible. And that's my opinion. I mean, I agree, we should hopefully try and get it cheaper, but they ain't lining up.
And I'm okay with that. It's strange that we're just not having a conversation about it. Like we're saying, just move on, let's go to the next item instead of, let's talk about some money. Taxpayer money at that.
I think it's just kind of been assumed. Like, I think we all just kind of had the same assumption, and I apologize. I think you're right to be speaking about it. But it's just kind of like, that's where we are, and that's what we got. There's not another option, and I'm gonna echo what Steve says. I don't know what's coming down the line. I had a million things go on this past month that I was just like, what's the legal advice on this? So we need an attorney.
We do have another option. We're not optionless. The option would be to bid it out for 1 more month, and I mean, it's like nobody's willing to bid it out for 1 month. Why?
We put it out to every place around, seriously.
Because I'm gonna tell you, in my day-to-day job, it's needed.
And I understand what you're saying, and my concern
Yeah.
too, but again,
Don't even worry about me.
think about it in terms of you can do a project in 2 hours as opposed to 250 as opposed to 5 hours at 150. It's the overall charge, and that's what I think with the firm.
We've got it capped at $1,000 a month.
I'm concerned.
We actually don't have it
I'm
capped,
just-
it's approximate.
Surprising to me that nobody else is
It's
concerned
an
about this.
approximation. It's
Well,
not.
I said, well, let's cap it at $1,000 a month, and it has to be approved to go over $1,000 a month. 'Cause I guarantee the bills from the other one was going way over that.
Well, and actually, the last gentleman who was at 150 was over that amount.
That's why I said the bills
Yes.
were going way over that.
Mr. Moore was over that too, a lot of times.
Yeah.
A lot. Okay, may I, I'm gonna ask, and I'm so sorry, I'm gonna write down your name. I
right
did
there.
write it
It's
down.
on
I
there.
did write it down, okay.
Yeah, it's on that sheet.
Mr. Graffin, okay. What is your opinions for, as far as 4 hours a month, do you feel like that's gonna cover?
Based upon what I've seen tonight, I mean, if you have a million questions a month or a day that you need legal advice on, no way. I mean, if I have to answer a million questions a month, there's no way it's gonna be under 4 hours a month when, I've got 3 hours in it tonight.
Yeah.
But like the councilman said, you get what you pay for. There's value in knowing if you have a question, you're going to get it answered correctly. If you have a problem, you're going to get
That's
the
what we had
correct
with Mr.
solution.
Moore. He knew what he was talking about.
I've got one question for you.
Sure.
We had an ordinance drawn up as far as retiree health benefits goes. Would your firm be able to handle ordinance concerning paying retirement health benefits?
Yeah.
That would have saved us $10,000
That's
right there.
It would have, you're right.
You wouldn't have subcontracted that out to an attorney that was specialized in
No,
retirement?
that's what they
You guys
do.
would
We
have
do
done it?
specialize in that. I mean, we've been city attorney for the city of Cookeville for
Okay.
decades.
So they're already set
We have the
to do that,
institutional
okay.
knowledge. I mean, if I can't answer your question right off the bat, I'm gonna contact one of my older, more senior partners who will be able to.
Rocker.
If they don't know, we'll be able to find the answer faster than somebody who doesn't know what they're doing.
So I'll say, like, Jesse, I think your concern is very.
I have more than one concern.
And I understand your other concerns too, and I think you should speak on them, but I'm at the point of like, I just feel, especially for
Just see how it
their
goes.
jobs, yeah, I mean, like, I share your concerns, but I mean, I think our hands are tied on it, and, and let's see what happens, like, we've had attorneys come in here that I voted against that I thought were great, started city attorneys that I voted for that I didn't think were great, like, I don't know, we'll see how it works,
All right, let's move on.
You
to
know,
something.
we can always terminate employment.
Okay.
I think essentially we had a call to vote then.
All right.
So let's vote on it.
All
Let's
in
vote on
favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Would you like me to stay?
You're welcome to
No,
go.
you're right.
For no reason.
All right.
Great references on there.
You're on the
Several
clock
of
now,
them.
you must go.
You're done.
Thank you very much.
We got a whole month ahead of us.
Well, and- All right, so the next, the next item don't have any, there are some people that are supposed to
So
apply.
we
for
have no, someone apply for the job?
this. Well, there are two people
That
that
paperweight
said
on
they
you.
have sent, but yet they haven't, it hasn't really arrived.
Motion to move on to the next item?
Do we,
To move on.
real,
Street closure between council.
well, there's a motion, there's gotta be a second on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But before we,
I'll second
do we
for
need to
discussion.
rebid this out? Do we need to go ahead and
Well, we
motion
need
to
to-
rebid it
Well,
out?
Yeah, but
it's
that-
out there, yeah. So
It hasn't been closed.
Nothing we need to do as a city council?
Yeah, there's nothing we can do.
All right.
Yeah, it's-
I've got one question. I thought that Scott was interested in becoming one of the contracted.
He withdrew his application.
Decided he'd had enough.
Is there any reason why?
I did not know that.
That's in his heart, I have no idea. I know when he first came on board, he said to me that his first priority is being the minister, and I know he's taken on some extra duties. He's taken on an officer for one of his.
I don't think that's the.
That's not what he told me the reason was.
I don't know, but.
We don't need to.
Yeah, we don't, we just need to move, let's just move forward.
We need to move on and not talk about it.
Because it happens all the time.
Let's,
So, motion for discussion on it.
Number 3.
So the third one,
So
this
what-
is, this is something that I just want to throw out there. We have had a couple possibilities for doing some really nice, getting some money in for the city for something that wanted to be filmed, but they had a quick turnaround because it was an artist, musical artist, and they just have quick turnarounds, so they wanted to film a music video. We didn't do it because we didn't have time to come to the council. So I would like to just throw out there, if we have another opportunity like that, where we could bring several $1,000s into our city, either that I'd be able to put an email out and say, if you're opposed, let me know, or you let the chief of police, EMA, and the mayor do a quick decision on that. If it's an artist that would be quite a bit of money into the city, yes, sir.
I'd say this respectfully, because speaking from experience from the last artist that came down here, they shut down our businesses.
Now, this wouldn't be the same.
And, well, no one was able to profit on anything, and it was just a quick thing. Like, we couldn't even have, like, restaurants open, we couldn't have, like, I mean, there was no foot traffic that would happen for the candy bar at the time, all of your other shops, your boutique shops.
They just closed everything down?
It was just closed down for a day,
Well,
and that's kind of why we changed it over to council judging
You
it.
actually could have foot traffic, it was just that the street, just
We were
like,
told
just
that
like
we
did
can't, because they're shooting a video, you can't have people out in the street, because it was a timepiece. So everyone in the street was a paid actor that was dressed for the time period. And it's not that we don't want to maybe have things like that, because maybe we could incorporate, like you were saying with the commercial, it sounds like you went out of your way to make sure a local caterer was involved,
Yes, exactly.
local extras, and that's a good thing, but we want to have, if we're going to do an event, if they want to shoot something downtown, that needs to be run through the same thing. We put our citizens through that, so they went around and asked, they should go around and do the same
Well,
thing.
just
That's
so
all
you-
I'm saying.
Just so you know, we won't be able to, because they went to Watertown, because we couldn't do it, and we lost several $1,000s on that one.
Well, we
Which
don't
that's
know if we
okay.
lost
We don't know if we lost
$7,000.
anything.
We might have.
We lost several $1,000s a day that Tanya Tucker
Yeah.
came.
Yeah,
We
but
did.
this-
Yeah,
This one was not gonna close down the whole
Citizens.
street though. But anyway,
Okay.
just to let you know, there are turnarounds like that, and they would have only wanted actually part of it right in front of the courthouse.
So number 3, we don't need any more?
We're
Are we
done.
moving to number 4?
Okay, number 4, okay, Derek, would you speak to that, please?
Basically, I just want to ask for your permission to proceed with hiring an engineering company to come in and go over the entire water system and do a leak detection. Rusty, can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you're pumping an extra 50,000 a day, 50,000 gallons a day right now.
Or more.
Or more. But we don't really know where this water is going. I think it's the age of the infrastructure. Basically, they would come in with acoustic equipment and just go over the entire system and tell us where our leaks are, and then we would go fix them.
Do you know how much that would cost?
Yes, they give us an estimate of $15,000.
Is it in your budget?
Yes.
A motion to, if you're okay with that, unless you have another question.
Motion, I'll just say
A
no
motion,
discussion.
and then we'll discuss it.
I'll second
Yeah,
it.
a motion that we allow them to do that.
Second. Rusty, did
Rusty,
you-
if you got something.
Well, hold on. What?
I mean, I don't wanna hold you up any longer, but Under the current rate that we're increasing in water usage from month by month, year to year, we're losing about $24,000 a year.
That was my question for you, so 15,000, that was my question, was how much is it costing
This
us?
is probably a wise investment.
Yeah.
Okay. Any discussion on that? We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Right, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
This next item that I've done here, go really quick. All I want y'all to do is start thinking about the bluff closure, because when it closes, it's gonna be closed for 18 months. When that
Minimum.
highway said minimum, that's gonna impact our actual sales tax, our fees, our money's coming into the city.
And health of the citizens of the county.
Yep.
The health of the citizens of the county.
They do not
You
have-
get somebody down in Rome, Rock City needing
That's
it.
already been addressed.
How are they gonna do it?
We're gonna station, the word is we're gonna station ambulance and more officers on that side of the 170.
But then they still have to go to the hospital.
Then go to Wilson County.
I'm not worried about government revenue. I'm worried about citizens who live
Right.
here.
That's what I'm saying. That's
Yeah.
what I brought this up
Yeah.
for, was for everybody to think about, hey, you know, they're not gonna come in across the bridge at Carthage anymore. They're gonna have to go around and about way to get here.
And that's something that we need to, as a city, we gotta fix this. We know we gotta fix the bluff. But if they're not gonna, if TDOT's not gonna take into account how much this will impact us and give us a better roundabout way, which we need, if they're just, cause the last thing they were gonna do, this is the last thing they were gonna do. They told everyone they go to Lebanon and go around. That was their answer. That was TDOT's answer, so.
You do understand we don't have a choice on what they do, right?
You can go out Hogan's Creek and cut through to Old 53, but that road needs to be improved.
Old Sanders.
And I think that's it.
It's Old Sanders Road to Old County House.
And
It's a-
I've talked
it's a
to
one-lane road.
the county for 8 years, and they refuse to do anything.
That is something that we need to, and yes, we do have pool. This is our city, it ain't TDOT city. We do
They
have
control
pool.
Highway 70 and the construction that happens on Highway 70. If they wanna do it, they're gonna do it, whether we say we'd rather
This
you
is,
didn't.
this is county road though. This needs to be, we need to
No,
work with the county.
But we're talking about-
All I brought this up for was something for us to think about. That we need to start thinking about our business, not just big discussions tonight or all, but start thinking ahead and plan ahead for this, because it could impact our bottom line next year for our budget.
And just to
That's all I
interject,
wanted to bring
that
up.
TDOT is going to have several, what you're talking about, citizens meetings to talk about, because
Yeah.
they've already said.
I know when
Okay.
the wreck was
So
on the
that's
interstate.
good, that's what I want.
Yeah,
Yes,
this
they-
wasn't
Yes, yes, sir. Yes,
I
sir.
know when the wreck was on the interstate, and, you know, it was
Yeah,
like all
it's bad.
day, whatever happened that day. I was coming back from Lebanon, it was like bumper to bumper cars all the way from Lebanon. I got to the bridge, and there was like 4 tractor trailer trucks sitting on the bridge. So the lady, police lady directed me through. I wasn't gonna go across that bridge with 4 trucks sitting on top of it. But what I'm trying to say is, I found out later, I investigated that the GPS routed them that way, the trucks.
Right, but the bridge, that whole thing will be shut down.
Yeah, it was,
The last 2 TDOT projects we've had here was a bridge that got repaired and did get repaired correctly, so it doubled the time, and was a bluff that got repaired and did get repaired correctly. So I know that when TDOT comes, we come to these meetings and everybody's, oh, this is great, TDOT's here, thank the Lord. But at the end of the day, that's what they did, and I think we need to all have something to say about it, because this is our town,
Okay. Well,
and we need to make sure that, you know,
They are-
Well, that's what Steve's saying.
Yeah.
They are going to have, they've already told us they're gonna have several citizens' concerns, situations.
We need to represent what I'm saying is we need to represent our citizens when we go to the.
That's
changed the date,
all we
though.
need
Yes,
to
it
start
won't be
thinking
till-
about,
it
is
won't-
that's all this was bringing it up, because I know
Okay.
before, it'll be like, well, when did this happen? When did they decide to do this?
Well,
Now we know.
If you. the
Motion to
email-
move on.
The email also, just.
The date did change.
Yes, just so the public knows, it's not till next spring. that
And
we
thank you for
start
bringing it up,
thinking
Steve, I
about it.
appreciate that.
Not a problem.
And
That's
that-
all I want
that-
everybody to be aware of it.
Just as a reminder, anybody who's still out there watching, starting Monday, the bridge will be closed for a week. Cordell Hall.
Okay.
We put that out
I thought it was
everywhere.
last week.
No,
It was
it's
supposed to be this week.
Annual inspection.
6 to the
Six.
17th.
Number 6.
Yeah, let's go to number 6.
Okay,
It'll be longer than a week.
special
6
permit
to 17.
tourism.
Mayor Smith, one quick thing, that's not for a week.
It's next,
It's
yes,
the
it is.
6th through the
6th
17th, right?
6th through the 10th.
Just 2 weeks.
Well, they're hoping it will just be a week.
It could be extended.
Yeah.
I think
extended.
the sign says.
It did. I know
Well,
it did.
that's-
It'll probably be a month.
That's worst case scenario. They're trying to get it done in 5 days if they can. It's just a general inspection they do every so often.
Okay, number 6.
Yes, number 6.
I make a motion that we
Or three.
move this to the first unfinished business for next month.
Okay, motion to move, any second?
The special permit?
Yeah.
To table it for next
It's for
month.
next year.
Isn't it for next year?
Tabling it to
It's for
next
next
month.
When do you wanna move it to?
Next month.
I'll second it.
Move
Motion
it to
table
January.
Next month, second, any discussion on that? Any discussion?
Next month.
I
Yeah,
just-
yeah, why next month? Why not in January?
What everybody agrees upon.
Move it to January.
All right, January sounds
Because
good.
it's a year in advance.
Yeah, it's just too, that's too
There
much.
might be, well, we have a motion and a second, do we? We have a second? Okay, so we're in discussion. They might be wanting to do this right now. I don't know, I wasn't involved in this one, but they might be wanting to do it right now because it was popular and they want to get support going forward, moving on this. That might be why the timing is they want us to prove it now. Now, I don't know, I mean, I guess we technically could, but if they submitted an application, I think we have to either approve it or deny it.
You can table it.
Can we table it?
Yeah, we
How-
can take, I mean, they get first call on these, they have the first application in, these dates are
Okay.
basically the first ones we would consider for those dates, so they're not losing.
But they
anything.
may, but if we
Well,
table
I
it
was
till.
trying to avoid this
Yeah.
conversation tonight on this. is
If
what
we
I'm trying to
table, that's fine. If we table it till January though, they may be trying to book things right now a year in advance. Like, I don't
Okay.
do these events, but there may be a
Let's-
reason
Let's
for it.
continue with my original motion to table.
And I'll second it.
So the motion is to table it next month, seconded. Any further discussion on this? Discussion on this. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed.
Okay, the last item is City Hall front entrance. Councilman Peters.
So, I had brought this up because originally it was, the front entrance was just the brick, half moon shape, I guess half circle. And that was not, ADA compliant. That's important to me, should be important to all of us. That the citizens are able to, especially disabled citizens, are able to get into the building if needed. And I've been told that Miss Cindy, thankful for her, of course, that she'll go out there and talk to them and take, their money for their water bill and all that kind of stuff. But that's not the only thing that the city hall is for. They could very well come here to put in a complaint on someone. They could very well want to come in here and come to one of these meetings. And so we need to have it to where it's accessible to somebody in a wheelchair. And not only that, we have to think of that in the terms of, if we were in the wheelchair, could we get into the building? Right now, the answer is no. Even with the ramp that's now been added, you've got to think, if you're in a wheelchair and you come up on that landing, how are you getting in the door?
It does meet ADA requirements, but our building inspector checked it out.
The minimum.
Well, it's 5 by 9, I think is what it is.
What I would ask is that you sit in a wheelchair and see if you can get into the door, and we'll judge it by that, because I don't think that's possible. I don't think that's possible, and I think it's too much to ask for somebody. So I would like to make a motion that we look at a more, not the minimum standards, but to look at putting the money in to make it accessible for the people. And I don't, and Mayor Smith, I'm just gonna say it because it shouldn't have happened. In our conversation, you reached out to me and talked to me and said that what would be better is if we put the money into a new building. Yes, you did. We should have put it, wait a second, I have the floor, once again, that we should have put the money into a $400,000 building that we were looking at, instead of improving the building that we've got.
No.
You didn't say that.
We need to improve this building, but what I did say is.
Did you say what I said just then?
Let me please finish.
I want you to answer my question.
Don't put words into my mouth.
I'm asking you point blank, you did not say that we should, what we should have done is buy that $400,000 building.
Our conversation started about something else. What I asked you later.
Then leave. I want to have this conversation.
Okay, but just please.
No, I'm not. I want you to answer my question. Did you say that we should have bought the $400,000 building?
I said we need a building that's more handicap accessible, yes.
That's
And
not what you said.
That was one.
That is not
choice.
what you said.
Okay, but let me finish, please. What I said to you is you had put this on the agenda, and I said, we are going to make this handicapped accessible. It's a process. We can't do it overnight.
Say exactly what you told
It
me.
is handicapped
That I should have
accessible now.
called you and found out if you were going to before I put it on the agenda.
I don't believe I said that.
Okay.
But why even go this? Why are we doing this?
I want to have an open discussion about what's happening, and it's not appropriate. I told you it wasn't appropriate, and I told you I was going to bring it up.
That's fine.
So here we are.
But
We're talking about
I don't
it.
agree with the way you're.
You're not telling the truth.
Well, yes, sir, I am.
No, you're not.
You're not understanding what the conversation was. I'm
I
telling you right now.
fully understand what the conversation was.
I'm telling you right now what the conversation is, okay?
You don't get to tell me what the conversation was. I was there. I know exactly what you
This is out of
said.
order. We can talk about this.
So what do you want to do? If I'm out of order?
I'm saying.
You're out of order for not telling the truth when I'm asking you a question.
Okay.
So if I'm out of order, then tell me to leave then. Is that what you want me to do? Because until then, we're gonna have this conversation.
So you say whatever you want to say, okay? Go right ahead. You got the floor.
I want to know what you think our job is as council members.
This has
Because,
nothing to do with this.
yes, it does. Because goes back to the conversation that we were having. That you think that we should call you and make sure that certain things are happening before we put things on the agenda.
That's not what I said. I tried to explain to you that this is being fixed, and it's fine for it to be on there, but I want you to understand it is being fixed.
You asked me to take it off.
No, I didn't do that.
You asked me to take that off, and you said that if we're gonna have, if I'm gonna put something on the agenda, then I should call City Hall and make sure that something's not happening already in that area first.
Okay.
And I told you specifically, because I remember, that I'm not gonna do that I'm not gonna give you all.
And you shouldn't. I agree with you. You should not do, you should not take something off because any of us need to take it off.
What you're doing right now is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And you stand by what you're doing right now, what you're saying.
I really don't know what you're talking about, Jesse. I'm sorry. I really don't know what you're talking about.
That's incredible.
Okay?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
We have your motion about to make it accessible.
I would like to make it handicap accessible.
Second. We're getting close on what it's gonna cost, right?
What it's gonna cost to put in a door that, that they have the buttons to where you can push the button, it opens on its own.
Remember, it goes to where?
Huh?
The planning commission.
Let it go there, that's fine, but that's what I would like
We're
is
just getting quotes right now.
a button, the doors where you push the button, it opens on its own, and they would have ease of access to get in for more than just paying their water bill.
Second.
And just keep in mind the door doesn't have to go out because it's.
Call the
fire.
question.
It's fire. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Y'all have a wonderful evening.